My mic on?
You know, the big brown meatballs that spit out lost souls. By luring one of those dopes towards your figure, with just the right RNG, it's possible for the monster to nudge the Doom guy through the floor and access the secret, triggering it through a wall and making 100% secret completion possible. It's almost impossible to pull out for normal players, and it's completely impractical for speedruns, but Zero Master proved to the Doom community it was possible to get all the secrets too without using cheat codes.
I've heard many of your detractors state that you invest in private prisons. I'd like you to speak to that.
I did invest 22 years ago and sold it. It was a wake-up call. I felt like I was not going to be living my values the way I wanted to. Since then, I have been working for rehabilitative justice. My only point is this: there is a possibility for human beings to change, to realize when they're wrong and do the right thing. I decided I need to be proactively, aggressively doing the right thing.
You don't pay big brand markups when you buy Aldi brand.
It's an Aldi thing. Is your mattress giving you aches and pains? At Mattress Firm, our sleep experts can match you with a more supportive mattress like Sealy Posturepedic with targeted support to help relieve those nagging aches. And right now, save up to $700. Mattress Firm, we make sleep easy.
And number 14, Big Boss believes in Santa. One of the weirdest jokes in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker comes from an exchange where Snake admits that he believes in Santa Claus. Maybe this is just a cute little joke that makes everyone's favorite stealth super age and a little more relatable, but some fans think it's a sly shout out to a goofy holiday-related game named Merry Gear Solid, developed by a longtime fan by the name of Arthur Lee, aka Mr. Podunkian. These are top-down stealth games where Snake must navigate guards, children watching from Santa, and deliver presents on Christmas Eve. He has a variety of special weapons like a Nerf gun, a digital camera, candy cane smokes. It's all very silly, and it's not unreasonable to think Hideo Kojima saw this game in action. Kojima has appeared in multiple videos by comedy troupe Mega 64, and when it comes to being extremely online, he's one of the best. Was his Santa Easter egg a response to the fans' love letter series? We don't know for sure, but sure will be a Christmas miracle if true. And number 13, angry commentator unlocked. After years of playing Wave Race Blue Storm, NeoGAF forum member Raul Duke shared a code no one had ever seen before. Inputting the code in the audio settings unlocks a totally new commentator that replaces the chipper original voice, and the new commentator hates you. The new commentator says stuff like, if you lose this race, I'm not going to love you anymore. Or, your wins are like diamonds. Very fair. As if our wave racing stuff just
Little tour.
If you were any good, you get it done by hitting the gas.
On a break for work.
These are some sick one-liners,
Got
and
some,
they all work on the European release too. The
gaming news in the background. We're gonna be working right here, set up. Gonna be a nice productive day. Yuki's chilling. Say hi, Yuki. Yuki's relaxed, you know. What is it? What the fuck is this? Oh my god. Yeah, my wife. You know her doing her thing. Sony chilling. Well, he's not chilling. He's anxious like always. And then we're making breakfast or brunch. Brunch.
Searching in the game's digital source wasn't enough at this point. He needed to go deeper. He went through the code and found lines that were seemingly never used by the game. And after reverse engineering, he was able to discover hidden code that allowed players to skip straight to the game's final ending from the prologue. The cheat is only possible to pull off after defeating the big prologue boss and talking to an ally. Instead of progressing further, you go to a spot with 6 metal barrels, 3 on each side, stand in the center, hold R2, press up, down, right, left, square, circle, triangle, cross. If you do it correctly, you'll jump straight to ending E in the final moments of the game. Normally, the game requires multiple playthroughs, which is a whole lot of work, and you can skip it for very little. It's obviously a developer secret used for debugging purposes. We're glad that they left it in there for someone to find many years later.
Pod 042, please respond to the square. You, faithful player of this title, have lost your life multiple times to make it this far. You have faced crushing hardship and suffered. Do you have any interest in helping the weak?
At number 11, the Shooting Gallery. After 5 years of chainsawing the Locust Horde monsters into bloody bits, one player found what might be the final Easter egg of Gears of War 3. These games are about meaty men chewing rocks. They're also packed with really good Easter eggs, though. And this one might be one of the best. By shooting 3 very hard-to-see coins in Act 2, Chapter 2, Marcus and friends unlock a portal to a shooting gallery. You'll appear in a chamber with a mounted turret, and Locust soldiers will pop out of the ground like whack-a-moles to shoot. The big secret was first discovered long after everybody else stopped playing by YouTuber TacCom, more specifically at Fell Blue Dodger. Shooting enough flying monster men will earn you different awards, making this one of the more elaborate secrets in the game. Here's hoping Microsoft will get off their butts and make another one, so we can start searching for secrets again. It's so rare Easter eggs aren't spotted immediately, so when one takes 5 years to find, you know it's pretty well hit. And number 10, Pokemon drop rates on holiday. Now, this is just a weird discovery that's almost lost media. A big-time shiny hunter in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl named @ShinyHunterMap discovered a big secret. The game calculates the drop rate of wild Pokemon in tall grass differently depending on holidays, so more Pokemon would appear on very specific days. Independence Day, the end of World War II in Europe, they both get a 5% drop rate bump, but the most important days get a huge 10% boost. Hilariously, one of the days you get the biggest drop rate bump is Junichi Masuda's birthday, the director of Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. I guess that's the one day that really matters in the Pokemon world. Obviously, these days heavily skewed towards Japanese holidays, which is pretty understandable considering where they're made. So dates like Culture Day and Oban Lantern Festival get lower Pokemon drop rates. Christmas and New Year's get the same treatment. Maybe the developers are trying to discourage us from playing on big holidays. Days of Tragedy get the biggest Pokemon appearance debuff. September 11th and the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki have Pokemon's lowest appearance rates. But you never thought you'd hear that Pokemon and nuclear bombs have something to do with each other in some way, but they do. Here we are. And number 9 is Fanty Indie Mega Hit, a different kind of payoff. Harvest Moon is a farm simulation game where you tend to your field and make friends in town. It's a charming series of games where, they've been going for a long time, and one indie developer was a very big fan. Eric Barone, the creator of Stardew Valley, loved the series so much and played the series for so long, he decided to make his own from scratch. The decision hit in the early days of the indie boom, making Stardew Valley one of the most played Steam games and cementing its place as a royalty. Eric Barone turned a lifelong obsession with Harvest Moon into a career with the coziest game imaginable. There's hundreds of examples on Steam that tell the same story as Eric Barone. A fan makes a new version of a game they love, but Eric Barone did it as a solo developer mostly. And that makes it so much easier to break down the influences. And while you're making your own favorite game, that's an awesome opportunity. It isn't often that professional developers get to work with their heroes. That's what the next entry is about. At number 8, Davide Soliani loved Mario 64. It was a formative video game for the creative director over at Ubisoft, and that love translated into a very different type of game. Instead of making his own 3D platformer, Davide directed both Mario plus Rabbids games. Mario and Rabbids are fun, speedy type of games where you play as Mario's colorful cast of characters, but they're mixed with the chaotic Rabbids mascots. They're some of the only games where the Rabbids are even remotely tolerable, which is pretty high praise. These games are also deeply connected to Nintendo, as legendary designer Shigeru Miyamoto consulted with other Nintendo greats. Davide described these experiences as a dream come true. In an industry as cutthroat as video games, it's not often two companies just work together. Crossover properties are, let's be serious, a company usually has to own all the IP to do it. So Nintendo, it's even weirder they did it. They're super protective of their characters. It's a miracle this project happened at all, but it did, and Davide was famously praised by Shigeru Miyamoto on stage during a Ubisoft presentation at the E3 convention in 2017. They say never meet your heroes, but it seems like things worked out pretty well here. 7, the audience cue knockout. There's always something else to discover in Punch-Out. This speedrunner favorite is also one of the most difficult games in the NES library, and learning every trick is essentially required if you want to win. This trick, which was discovered multiple decades after the original game was released, gives you an edge over 2 separate fights. The trick, shared by Midwestern housewives on YouTube, involves watching an audience member. Here's the gist. During a fight, a member of the audience will duck slightly, giving you a very, very brief time where you can punch your opponent and knock them out instantly. When the audience member ducks, you punch. If you time it just right, you can knock out the second phase of Piston Honda or Ball Bull. It's an instant knockout punch for Piston Honda that was already widely known, but the visual cue for the audience was not. This trick also works on Ball Bull, was also seemingly unknown, making this obsessive play worth it.
Look at this little midget. There's a little midget.
And number 6 is Happy Birthday in Halo 3. Another weird little Easter egg discovered way
Isn't he so
after the
funny?
fact.
Oh
Lord
shit,
Zed
I can go
on
live on
YouTube
Odyssey
posted
and
a
shit.
video about an unknown
Type
secret.
shit.
People did know about this one. They
Nice.
didn't document it. On a very specific
Look at this little
day,
midget.
Halo 3 will display a
Look at him.
message that says,
I see you.
Lauren, the wife of
I see you.
A green Perez, who added the Easter egg to the game. Very simple.
I
It was
see
even
you.
hinted at in 2 community mailbags at Bungie's official website at the time, but was definitely not noticed by the majority of people. Finding the Easter egg makes more sense when you realize Lord Zed is a prolific Halo modder that makes insane, wonderful mods for the series even after most everyone else has moved on. But it's always nice to see a secret discovered by a dedicated community member, even if it's something simple. And number 5 is Hail to the King. Final Fantasy IX has one of the most evil achievements in the whole series. It has nothing to do with magic or monsters. At the start of Final Fantasy IX, you'll be able to play a jump rope minigame that gets progressively harder the longer you jump rope. Getting to 100 is basically impossible for us. The Hail to the King achievement isn't about getting 100 jumps though. It's about getting 1,000. The timing gets trickier the higher you score. There's a brutal double jump at 200. You'll need perfect rhythm and precision. And while this has been done by a select few,
Walmart's 500 million items means that every day is a vacay, even if it's a staycay.
Wait, this is all Walmart. Who knew?
Are those my swim trunks?
Yes, Bob, they are.
Funny. I don't know what they're thinking, but right now, every Domino's pizza is half off. Every single pizza. Like what? I'm not gonna overthink it. I'm just gonna get half off some
Those commercials.
What is Newly? It's a clothing rental company with a closet like this.
God damn.
Make me big again now.
Even at our ugliest, our love is worth fighting for.
Just stick with this.
Want the fastest working GLP-1 for half the price? Rome now offers FDA-approved weight loss.
Completed it with a blindfold on? Well, Played to Completion on YouTube pulled off this self-imposed challenge thanks to hundreds of hours of Final Fantasy IX. Turns out being able to see helps. Being unable to see makes counting a lot harder, and he has to memorize exactly when the tempo changes, all while hoping he's got the rhythm right. In the end, he smashed the record and scored a blistering 1,168 jumps. We'd have to practice years to do this with our eyes open. He made it look easy. And number 4, Let Me Solo Her. Melania is one of the most infamous bosses in video game history. The Elden Ring hidden boss is a big wall of difficulty a lot of players can't beat, and so rose a different type of hero. Let Me Solo Her was a friendly player that offered up his services to make
Let me
Melania
solo
breeze.
her.
Wearing nothing but a giant pot in his head, Let Me Solo Her mastered one of the toughest bosses in Souls-like history and makes it look easy. The mysterious player is so infamous, he immediately became an internet meme, appearing as an Easter egg in plenty of other video games, all because he's really, really good at Elden Ring. One of the most explicit Easter eggs appears in Kingdom Come
Goated.
2, where you'll find a pot-wielding skeleton in
Fucking
a field.
goated,
The
bruh.
deceased is naked, he has 2 swords, and has red flowers sprouting from the body, similar to Crimson Rock flowers in Elden Ring. Just one small acknowledgement of this one player's contributions. It's awesome to see a fan get a little recognition for helping out so many people. And number 3 is Milton's Big Break. One of the most notable fan projects of the 2010s has to be AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. The name's humble, but the project is far from it. It's one of the most well-made fan projects ever made, rebuilding Metroid 2 from the ground up, and expanding the game's scope very considerably, making it a much better game, to say the least. Too bad AM2R, released right before Nintendo, announced the official Metroid 2 remake. AM2R is considered by many to be the superior game. Nintendo done did what Nintendo does, and signed the creator, Argentine developer Milton Kowalski, a DMCA takedown, demanding the free fan game be removed and buried forever. It was a nasty blow to fans who have been waiting for more Samus adventures for a very long time in 2016. Samus Aran is a pretty good place on the Nintendo Switch now, and on the Switch too, but we were in a long drought period 10 years ago. That DMCA takedown sucked. But the acclaimed AM2R project got Milton notice. He's now working for Move Studios and deep in development of the Steam Early Access hit No Rest for the Wicked. Some fans got to meet their heroes, others got crushed on the Nintendo corporate boot. At least Milton made it out with a job offer, though. And number 2 is Buried Treasure Hunt. It took 3 years of obsessive work to unravel one of the weirdest internet args we've seen so far. And there's one person at the center of it. Trials Evolution is a physics game about balancing a bike and reaching a goal in increasingly complicated tracks. Doesn't seem like that complicated game, but trust us, these games are insane.
Right now,
Trials Evolution, Ultimate Reality.
running up some numbers. All on my own.
One member of the community, Brad Hill, there are 10 steps to this convoluted puzzle. It involves finding planks to spell out a coded message in game and unlocking a new song by performing a specific trick, solving riddles, finding websites, following coordinates to locations, and collecting keys from hidden metal boxes in the real world. Those keys have a very specific use. They'll unlock something under the Eiffel Tower. That's an awesome discovery. Too bad the keys will only work in 2113. Developer Red Links confirmed this is not a joke. It's tough to believe them. How they set up an event almost a century in the future, don't know. Maybe the Eiffel Tower bookings are really congested, whatever the case. The mystery's been solved for now, and it's all thanks to Brad Hill and people like him working tirelessly. One of gaming's most complex world-spanning puzzles. Finally, at number 1, The Body in the Bank in Silent Hill 2 was picked apart almost immediately after release by fans struggling to understand its unclear narrative. It's a story that's so classically up to interpretation, and fans had ideas from the get-go. Way back in 2006, one member of the Silent Hill forum, named The Adversary, was pushing a theory that Maria died the day before the release of Silent Hill 2, not the multiple years that protagonist James implies. This theory's been traded around Silent Hill circles for decades. It's so ubiquitous, even the creators of Silent Hill have commented on it. But comments aren't the same as canon. And the Silent Hill 2 remake by Bloober Team blows the lid off this particular mystery. By using camera mods, it's finally possible to look at the back of James' car to see that the developers have added a very conspicuous sheet that looks very much like a body. Decades later, and a forum theory has finally been confirmed. There's even a totally new ending in the remake where Mary appears in the back seat to talk to James, looking pretty fresh for a dead body. It's been a long road, but it looks like the Adversary's craziest theories were not so crazy after all.
What's wrong, man? Why are you doing that? Sit down, sit down, sit down.
That's all I've got for you today, though. Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Join the 1% Club, and you get the Falcon Show exclusively every week on Saturday. We're having a blast doing that. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Rockin' Ranks.
We love Falcon. We love Falcon. He rocks. Alright. We've officially ran up the numbers. Or are running them up. Now let's do this. We're making breakfast. Gonna make some YouTube videos, live stream, work, clean up a bit. Oh yeah.
It really does come down to a matter of
R6, baby.
Sometimes all that matters is Daystar are in the lead. That's the big one to keep your eye on. And imagine if they bring down Falcons. They've already said it's a best of one. Anything can happen. If they win this one, they go on to face the winner of our next game to qualify going towards the main stages. That'll be incredible. Towards phase 2, towards that stage. That'll be amazing.
Scary thing. Very.
I love them though.
I love the chaos of it because I've got no horse in the race. I'm just here for the chaos. But for the players and for fans, it is very scary indeed. Nice little angle here from Souffle. I thought he was going to be able to just find a couple of pixels there, but doesn't want to move too much. Good castle barricade set up here as well. It's going to need dealing with in some way. You have the arrows, you've got a couple of launches that you can look to try and work that at range with. He's going to be tasked with trying to open up that castle wall as well. It's the wall that he's also charged with defending when he's on the other side of things. There's a bit of info kicking around here for Falcons, but they don't want to overcommit just yet. They need to try and find a pick before they start to blindly just propel into that top floor.
Very much because of the combo of the comps that we saw coming out of Falcons in rounds 2 and 5 back in that first half, with the Solus of course feeding the info, all the stall coming out from the castle and the clash and in towards everything else that's going on for them. They've got a lot to work with here, and a lot the Falcons need to chew their way through. Solotov finding his second kill of the game here, didn't have a wonderful start admittedly, 0 and 6 a couple of rounds ago, but now he's starting to work his way into things now that he's still over on the half. Still jiggling himself around the corner here, hoping to find someone else leaking out. Leaking back good for a second. This looks like the Falcons that we know can deliver. Being equally finding his first kill of the game as he finds one, but is very much crumbled away pretty quickly here, Tim. We're down to a 3 versus. I told you it's going to happen at some point, but this one feels like really getting a bit fully. Get that shield up, big man, and just hold yourself in there because you've got teammates coming around to give a bit of support, and we know exactly where these last couple are. A C4 over the top, they're trying to pull him out as best they can, but cannot finish off the mountain.
He has the angle, he has the winning formula. Can he land the last shot? Unfortunately, no. We're going to start to get that plan down though, and to try and split Seal's attention. But Users eventually makes good from that little main stairs lurk that he was on. Falcons looking far better there, far more coordinated. Was it more default? I don't
That's
know.
what we got to do.
But they at least work those angles.
We're going to run some
There
ads.
was a very good information exchange, and let's be honest, they use Free Day for one of the things that he is the best at, and that is getting that monster shield in and gathering that info.
I just think a lot of it came down to Solotov on the entry, and the fact that he got to Banana so freely there and was able to contest 2 or 3 players at the same time was what really set the rest of the team up there to make things that little bit easier for them. Knowing that there's pressure and he's soaking attention from the other side by making that pressure on towards him on Banana, everyone else can move that a little bit more freely. And you look at the other side and say, well, how the hell did he get in towards Banana? And I think it was the elevator challenge on towards Pecan that really cost them there. If they manage to hold on a little bit longer on towards long stairs and slow things down, don't let them get on the windows so easily, maybe we're having a very different conversation. So I think a small slip of attention there from Daystar has opened the door.
We're going to mainly be in the kitchen right now. Right here, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. You know that old school electronic song? It's audible. It's cool.
the less one of these final three players, because you can see he's been having a real wonderful game so far, the less undercomfortable going to be.
Yeah, it's not like we've got a C4 or anything like that. We can try and get two off or a little bit of cheese play. Salt up there, still working his vertical angle. We'll be able to take down Kazu. And that's just going to be a further nail in the coffin right now. It's looking likely to be a flawless round. Kanzi holding. That's the angle there. Seals with it. Renate there with that finisher. The Falcons can definitely switch on to switching sides.
That last one was such a siege time. Watching the verticals the whole time, you look away for half a second, and that is when someone steps on the line. Now back to the lead. After having a 4-3 lead, I think that first half we had that 2-1 for 4-3 defenders.
G2 would be a great team to win. I mean, they always fucking win, but Stompton, come on. I want to see Stompton win. Spoik too, but I don't know how likely that is. It's crazy that Bolo is actually the only one that won, like content creator that won an SI. That's wild, actually.
I think that's one thing the other side didn't expect because the first time actually they think, okay, we've got a Monty on side, we've got a 2v3. They probably can't win front fight because they're like trades unless they're trying to go for a plan. So they start always holding positions waiting for that. And I think it was Billy, once he got the trade kill, then went sprinting off into the ground. He was like, well, I'm not going to be around for this anymore. Left his teammate inside the hallway. He then dives to shoot a little bit of a decent aerodynamic defense. This is what I think you'll see with these lesser experienced teams. And moments like that when it really matters. That's the game to slip away. Falcons now with a great chance to close this out 7-4. If they start, I think they're definitely going to give a few teams reason for concern if they were to go down to the lower bracket.
Absolutely. We played some brilliant siege this game. There's still time for them to redeem and take us into an overtime. The Falcons, again, just showing that different class, that extra level. They are the team that is able to do it against the odds sometimes. And that last half was definitely against the odds. Back to the top wall, we can go down here. We'll keep the final round. Tackle things for the CEO. First spread aid, she's putting on the glass, but we'll be back this time. We'll be on the day, so again, we'll be looking for some of that information game. To see the factor go again, we didn't really get to see the full intent of the factor. Type B, I think it's more next game. This could be more on the wall. So I think it's XP based as well. It's got some force in it. It isn't a bad pick nonetheless. Tansy for Taylor. What would be the important now?
That's the real heartbreaker for them, just like DMR to not ideal. With the Glasgow side, Jude, of course, wants to make great use of the spokes. He'd step up forward. He's working back up towards the left. And Jude gets one, gets the perfect finish. Totally positive. It's crazy fair, but it's a crucial kill because the kind of advantage remains. Falcons 4v3, maybe they're 4v2. Falcons really starting to cook here, and this one feels like a quick start for them here at SLC. All top now, stop up, hold this long angle. No trying to see a little seal on the flash. Not the best up, it's really a 2 versus 4. You can't post that shield, you want to try and hold it around it. Or the line to it, it's slow. That's no value to maybe you want to do. So, you want to see that out of that right now. We're going to get a steal information before it's off the way. It's start of the game. You look to the game. And he picks up the down. Back finds that final kill. Seal will find one on to lead back with this one. You expect that to be impactless. 3-day. Nail and that defense to the ground. Well, this should be all she wrote for this game. Catch the final goal without no stops up there, spins the corner, finishing strong there on back. Four kicks on top to close it out. As you were saying, a very quiet first half, and really made itself known in the serve in the second. You shake your head, I'm sure Falcons will look at it and say, you know what, don't care, don't care. This is the round of crazy overtime win. They now got a race to face up against the winner in the 400 members.
Alright, it's pretty good. Kitchen executed. Completed. Kitchen complete. go and meditate before we eat, while we let it kind of like cool down, and then we'll grub and get to work. A few things on the to-do list, just a handful of things. Go from there. Ooh. Can you force? Oh, it's like this. That was like some like Oni-chan type shit.
Team that Daystar came to win, but Team
Alright.
Falcons take the win 7-4 in the end. I'm here with Drew after the win. 11 seconds. Good
GG
performance
Falcons.
for you overall.
Alright, meditation time. Right, you? Meditation time, Yuki?
We saw you guys competing, I mean, well, all match long, but looking ahead, we've got some scary potential matchups with maybe the Shopify Rebellion. How do you feel about that one potentially being phase one?
Good stuff. Good shit. Good shit. Meditate. It helps. It brings you back down to earth, man. Let's see. Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. What's up, small smee-up? Sorry, I'm barely checking the chats right now. So, and I'm streaming from like everywhere, so it's kind of hard for me to stay up to date with everything. But hello, hello. Since you're in Kick, I'll check out Kick. We're gonna eat. We're gonna get ready for the day and grind. Bunch of editing today. YouTube videos, music. I'm watching Rainbow Six Siege. Fire. And then work on some remixes, of course.
Let's see how awkward it's going to be for Shopify Rebellion here on Border as we get into it. 4 a.m. of course, one of those new CNL teams that we've seen coming through. Are they going to be able to provide that surprise, that shock factor? Or is it going to be business as expected? For Shopify Rebellion, we saw the social vote coming in 84% of you backing the North American team. Look, as I said, we've got to call it as we see it. That might be Shopify Rebellion physically through the there'll be a few people, you watched it first hand, alright? A few people were really surprised that Shopify Rebellion are in phase 1 at all, that it wasn't a direct qualification through phase 2 for them, same as we've just seen from Falcons in the last week.
Absolutely, it's worth highlighting for anyone that isn't super familiar with the format. To be in stage 1 isn't the best position to be in.
It was a fourth place finish in kickoff.
Yeah, it requires to lose games inside the kickoff and lose games inside that qualification. The best teams, air quotes, that are coming into this major and all majors are coming in that stage 2 round where you entirely avoid this opening portion of games and you go straight into stage 2 and you go from there and go on towards the live stage.
And for anyone that is tuning in at any point, thank you. Appreciate you. You rock. And I'll get on a better streaming schedule and setup. I'm currently renovating a studio where I'll be able to pretty much monitor everything and it'll be more professional. But in the meantime, we're doing some ad hoc type shit, freestyling. So we'll just be chilling for now. Let's grub up, get ready for the day, you feel me? Damn, I can't even place this anywhere. Oh, actually, let me check my work logs real quick. There's also a better view.
Armory the first site, and again, CCTV going to be the first point of pressure. If you have a couple of players here from 4A occupying that space, you have an ability to rotate out towards 90 as well, but the pressure isn't really mounting just yet. Canadian, he's jumped himself in. First kill onto Ambi, second kill onto Surf, third kill onto Spite, and then drop flat. A flawless round to kick things off here for 4AM. As soon as SR press that go button, as soon as they use the Centaur RU projector, as soon as they take one step into the building, it's more like dominoes.
Well. Who's preparing the near airport copy pasta? Might be a bit soon. Well, no, it was a rough round for Shopify Rebellion. Like you said, what did I say?
Like always, some bullshit happens at work. So you gotta fucking deal with it real quick. Why don't we do we share my
You know, again,
My screen
coaching for a good long time now, and along
could
with
pop on
Gossi at the side,
something.
this is a team that are familiar with this experience. They've got the experience there. They've got that little bit of land background, and so yes, there are players who haven't done this before, but
I'm trying to find something entertaining to put.
the team that certainly have, and so I don't think they're going to turn up here and just be completely overawed. It's been a great start from them for the first round. They move on to ventilation and workshop for their second round. Shopify Rebellion, they've just been punched in the mouth. The question is, how do they react?
Of all the match picks for a best of one, he's ended up on board, by the way. Like, you can't.
Oh,
like, this is
R6 Esports. Duh. Yeah, there we go.
It's boring.
Just zoots down to the ground for it.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're updated.
He's going to try and make a big impact here, get support out on the woodwork.
Alright, cool.
Has a chance at putting some shots, and he knows that somebody's over there toward Armory. A few shots just coming on through the wall, but thinks better of it, maybe recognising I kind of got away with that one a little bit. The keeper just slightly catches him off guard there. He wasn't anticipating that to be in the position. Canadian just really gathering a bit of info here. We'll grab that 90 camera, the Banshee. There's plenty for a Bravo to be going at and confirm the location of someone inside a CC.
Again, intel is it's going to be really important for Shopify Rebellion here because again, you can see from the outlines of these 4 AM players how aggressively they're playing this on this top floor. Somebody in CCTV, somebody right up against that triple office wall, somebody in Fountain. They're backing each other up. We've got crossfires. There's nowhere safe for Shopify Rebellion to enter the map here, and that's why I say they really need that intel. They've got Ambi on Snake, which is really going to help because they need to make sure that they're aware of all these positions and that they're challenging them in numbers so that they can create those advantages, those sort of lose-lose situations for 4 AM. And that's what Ambi's going to try to do as he walks up here, but again, good intel, they can't take advantage though. The Banshee did highlight his position and approach, but it doesn't matter because Surf goes in at the same time, is there for the trade. 2v3 as 4 AM try to hold on, but Shopify Rebellion a lot more of what we would expected there from them.
And let's go. Spoit.
Our replay team are going to be very busy this game because it seems like as soon as one kill happens, boom, they all happen. A lot of the action happening in a very condensed period of time at the minute. In round 1, it was 4 AM. They're inside of round 2. It took a little bit longer, admittedly, to get to that action stage, but as soon as it starts happening, as soon as that first kill comes down, it isn't long until we're wrapped up and we're waiting for the next round to start on up. SR there successful in round 2, mainly off the back of Ambi just being able to walk up those main stairs. As we said to him, caught out on the information, caught out on the Banshee, but sometimes that's just an occupational hazard, and it isn't going to be the first time Ambi activates a Banshee and then has to, guess what, carry on past it and push through it because he knows there's kills at the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, that's going to be the player here for Shopify Rebellion. If they are playing into a lot of that kind of utility, you can see they've got the FNATs at Fenrir, they've got the Banshees again at the Mulligan, so they are going to be playing into a lot of that utility. I think sometimes it's about recognising its position and then just using it as bait almost. It's like, yeah, I've triggered Banshee, so I know somebody's going to push me, and instead of taking a backward step, I'm actually going to take a forwards one, and it worked beautifully for Ambi, and we just saw those little things that are going to creep in for 4 AM, the things that are going to make the difference, between a good team and a great team, was that reaction. Ambi gets the kill at top metal, and then there was no preparation from the player on breach. He gets shot in the back, the comms maybe not quick enough, the expectation of him going in through small office window maybe not quite there, and that's where Shopify Rebellion are going to punish 4 AM. They now need to be right on the ball.
Surf going to be activating the Assault on scan there and then jumping into some old-fashioned tech, a drone. Not often that we see a snake with a drone out, but even sometimes there is things in this sky that can't quite grab. A lot of drones being played inside of round number 3. Andy is going to be switching over onto Brava, and we'll have a chance to hack any of those electronics. Potentially a little bit of a bait here as we start seeing Candela's through the side window. Brilliant play there from Serve, and Gotti reacting quite nicely to that bait. Maybe frantically just trying to get himself back into position to do something about a potential plant going down. Garsley he's stuck here at the top of these east stairs and really looks to rotate himself back into office, but this is really the danger zone because this is where a lot of Shopify are operating. Yes, they've got Canadian downstairs outside by the side window, but that isn't the main focus right now. It's these players tucked in. Surf is likely going to swing the corner here, and if he does, he'll have a field day.
Too easy. They're just going to stray on him, but Shopify Rebellion again creating that good position that they could at least make it a lose-lose. 4 versus 2 as Ambi manages the time ladder as well. Surf still down, but it's almost certainly not going to matter here as we get ourselves down to Rockstar versus the World. 1 versus 3 at the moment. Just takes his pot shots through. No, oh, it's an absolute beauty onto Ambi. He might not get the round, but at least he gets to keep that.
Can't take that away from him, can you? That'll be clipped and put on repeat. Doesn't have a C4, so won't be able to affect it onto those players upstairs so well. Canadian and Surf though, both super low. And 50 seconds. It's a lot of time. Rockstar can find a bit of space here potentially. He's going to get zoned off there by the nade. He has got a Banshee that's going to back him up if anyone tries to push up onto him. But Canadian has managed to get themselves into the site and will start to get that plan down. Spoiled the drone, the bait. Beautiful stuff. And a good round there for SR.
Yeah, round 2 and 3 looking absolutely leagues apart from round 1. I think, you know, like I say, just a little bit of jab to the mouth on round 1, but Shopify Rebellion have responded well. They've run headlong into it, and we're now starting to see them control border on it. And the reason I say that is these positions that they're creating. I said at the beginning of things, you know, that this needed a strong performance from Troy in that IGL role to be going in there. Because it's
hello.
to find those gaps, find those opportunities, and to guide his team to act.
Hello, friend.
The little gaps that are opening, those little opportunities, those little 2v1s that they can create. As soon as they've got somebody isolated,
Alright, let's see.
Ambi, Surf, pushing together, and then moving in together, they're
Oops,
getting those kills.
my bad. Go back here.
You know,
Oops, JK.
Really good to watch so far.
The fuck was I at?
Definitely up for the fight, but I think the problem is they're going to really struggle in those sort of man disadvantage positions. If anything,
Did I not have like a new? Oh, here it is. Yeah, JK. Alright, I'm gonna eat, wrap some stuff up from work. Then we're gonna move on to like editing. And I just need to wrap up a remix that I'm working on. And I do want to do a how-to video on how I made the Chainsaw Man remix I got out. So, but streaming all day today, all day.
So our observers did great. I'm surprised we saw as many as we did. We saw a couple of them.
I'll tell you what, you can see a lot in 4 seconds apparently. Not much was learned. We're hopefully going to see a little bit more now. Of course, it wasn't 4 seconds of the round we saw. It was just from the point of that first kill to the point of the last. Dish bash ball, 4AM were looking in the right direction. And I think that's kind of all you can say about it. SR weren't really pushing in the best possible way, and nobody would have won the fight. That was the big takeaway. We're going to see a little bit more here inside of round number 4, and even still, it's going to be a slightly different approach. We've got Canadian, he's got the field now. Interestingly, we've not seen them ban out the Monty against them, but Canadian hasn't been, you know, impelled to play the Monty, whereas typically we'll see a Monty up and that's all they're trying to do. So nice to see them moving around a little bit. Okay, it's border, so it's maybe not an every round sort of requirement, but Monty is very synonymous at the moment with SR and this team. Surf kicking things off. Canadian already finding a little bit of trouble, but that's not an angle you want to see.
No, that was always going to be. I think with the Blackbeard, you've got to have the shield down ready. We'll come back to that. 3 versus 2. There's a couple of kills going. Gotti manages to get one, but Surf is there for the trade again. Something Shopify Rebellion have done so well, these trades, and keeping themselves on top of things, keeping themselves in the advantage. It's TX this time. He's been a big player for them through that Siang kickoff. He's really been top of the box in terms of the numbers. They need a big moment from him here. And again, Shopify Rebellion, they're just being... They're being so clinical about this. 3v1, could they have gone for the kill there? Of course they could. Did they? No. We're going to move in, we're going to use the position. And, you know, I often say you're only playing the team that's in front of you. And you've still got to play your game. And that's what Shopify Rebellion are doing so well now. Just getting in there. The space is there for a plan. We don't care if we, 3v1, we don't care who it is that's left.
God damn it.
Move here, the peak move here is this. That's what we're going to do. So really well played from them. A tough finish to the round. But yeah, it's always going to be a tough challenge if you're dropping the Blackbeard shield whilst looking at somebody.
Flat.
Yeah, you've really got to have a bit of movement to it or something. You kind of asking for trouble at this level of the game if you're just dropping your shield whilst. I think he was hoping, because he'd thrown the nade, he was hoping that there might be a little bit of distraction there. He's got to try and move, he's got to get out of the way of the nade. I can get in there and get aggressive, but no, they weren't having that.
It's one of the beautiful things about SR for me is that you've got that you've got that sort of polar opposite spectrum, haven't you? Because you've got Canadian who'll do that on one side, but then on the flip side, you've got Ambi, you've got Spoy, you've got Surf, you've got Wrexham, who will all do that. But the other way, they'll do the flashy bit.
Yeah, they're the one hitting that shot.
They'll do the flashy side of things. Speaking of Wrexham, I think he unfortunately dropped out there, and I'm going to have to get all the players back inside the ball. Yeah, a gentle respite, I think, for 4 a.m. because so far it's been getting trial by fire, hasn't it? And we were sort of expecting it, but you've got to go into it bordering. Honestly, after that first round, I was sat here thinking, oh my God, what are we about to be in for?
I know, I joked about it after round one, and I think there was probably a few North American fans after round out that were just like, not like this. I know we're only one round in, but not like this. But no, look, Shopify Rebellion will keep every inch the professionals. They're just going about their business. They've been playing really well. So I think it's actually probably quite the opposite. I think it's very promising, obviously, from the North American side so far. For any of our NA fans out there, I'm sure they'll be more than happy. But looking at how the game's gone so far, I spoke about the importance of man advantage, about this man count for 4 a.m. particularly, and not playing like off the back foot as much as they can. This is a little bit of the problem that they started to find, and that is that the entry battles are all going against them. Apart from that first round where, yeah, it was a little bit crazy. Round 2 through to 4, it's been Ambi and then 2 for Surf that have been getting those openers, and that's something really that 4 a.m. need to try and address. It's such a difficult thing to say. Oh, you need to win more entry fights. Like, okay, how do we do that then? You know, what do we do with that? It's a tough one for them, and I understand that. You're going up against some of the best gunners in the world here on the side of Shopify Rebellion, so it's always going to be a tough one to say. Just go and get some entry kills, but that's one area of the game that they can really
fucking
do
people,
to
bro.
improve. I'm looking towards somebody like
It's crazy.
That. Get in there and get into those entry fights. Maybe you'll be, a little bit better when the sides switch.
On the flip side of it, I'm really happy that SR have shown a little bit of attention towards those entries because it has been somewhere that they've struggled, particularly inside a kickoff. And obviously, kickoff being the most recent data that we've got to go off, SR fails to being the only team inside North America to not make a change. So, as I've said a few times, we have come down, or at least I have personally, a little bit more heavily on them because of that, because they've not made a change. We haven't got those same excuses that other teams have got. This is the same 5 players that have been playing for a long time together now, and their entries have been, for my money, subpar, especially for where they end up finding themselves, because they do end up attending majors, they do end up winning games. So to put themselves in that back foot by losing those opening engagements and still getting there, you imagine how good they could be if they got the openers. Yeah. So it's nice to see them working on that here. It's early days. I hope that it continues throughout the course of the year, but it's already something that I've noticed.
Well, I mean, hold that thought, Ollie, because we don't need necessarily.
It's gonna be boring for a little bit because I gotta work.
To have that theory tested, because those amongst you who love a bracket, those amongst you who love to look towards the rest of the day and what might or might not happen, will, I'm sure, know, having seen Falcons win the last match, should Shopify Rebellion continue in the current trend and get themselves a win here, they will be playing the Europeans in the best of 3 later on today. The winner, of course, will qualify to stage 2 of the major. So it is quite an opportunity to see that theory tested here with Shopify Rebellion. They're coming in, they're playing well in the entry game now against 4 a.m. The question is, can they then do it against a team like Falcons, where, I'm not down talking any of these players on 4 a.m. We've got some great players there in the server, but you're going up against Falcons and you're going up against Doom on the entry. You're going up in entry battles against users, against Solitaire, some of the best gunners that we've got inside of the game. So yeah, that entry stat is going to be thoroughly tested.
It will be. I might just stop.
Should they win this one?
I might just stop testing it now. If that's
just
all
right. To win.
And I'll just say we've worked on it. We've improved it. You know what? I'll take that to the bank.
Great stuff, SR.
Because you never know what might happen. As you say,
God damn it.
Go in this direction.
1 second. Gotta do some bullshit. There's always some bullshit with work. Pisses me off.
Look to the pistol, get that final kill done. That's going to be a 3-3 half. And like I say, it feels like a little bit of a steal coming in for 4 a.m. Bellium. 3 rounds of that, definitely a bit
What's going
confident
on?
with the best team. But then round 5 and 6, and all of that from 4 a.m. They're really good team.
Oh, for real though. Let's go back to the screen capture. A little bit more entertaining. Oh, perfect. Thank goodness. All right. Actually, gotta mute my Well, what can we do? You know, it is what it is, people. We can only do so much. My headphones are broken today because my naughty cat, so I can't hear your voice. It would be great if you could reply to me via chat. Got you. Hello, friend. Oh my god, look at my face. It's too funny. Let's switch to just video and go from there. And then we are going to, oh my god, they're so crazy annoying. I do. It is cursed. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Cool. Yes. Ask away. Let's go look. Look at my cat. Shove my cat again. Hi, Yuki. Hi, Mama. You're so cute, Cookie. You're so cute. Alright. I think we're done with all that. Hey, Shopify Rebellion is doing good. Ah, shit.
The plant likely going to go down here, but at this point SR have had to kind of let that happen because they have to rely on this double man count advantage to take them over the line.
Yeah, that's it. They're now going to play on the retake. Beautiful shot with the DMR up on the reverse angle to take Wrexham down with the headshot. 23 seconds left here for Rebellion to fight their way back in, and that's a good start as Surf manages to take down the Sens. 20 seconds left. They've got to have this clear so they can get on the diffuser by the 7-second mark, or they won't have time. 10 seconds as they hunt, trying to find this last man. It's the Twitch, it's Lider. What can they do? They win the fight. That was the essential one, but no, only on time, yes, just. There were half a second to spare, Surf with a big double in the retake. Rebellion take round 9.
That was very dicey. For a 3 versus 1, they played it well because they won it, but at the same time, they didn't play it well because there was a very fine margin to whether that got disabled or not. I was expecting, put one body disabling the diffuser, flood the guy with 2 from either side. Even if he picks up both kills, he's probably not going to have time to do the rest.
I think the problem there was, I agree with you, but I think the problem there was that they had no idea where Lider was.
No.
They just had no idea where the Twitch was. It was like, you know, they'd sort of gone to retake upstairs.
It was a bit of an off angle though.
It was, you know, it's out in customs. It was a bit like, but I think that was a big part of it because, you know, the flame come through and Andy's kind of watching for both looking around.
Alright. There's some bullshit with work, bruh. Let's see. With users.
Because they don't know where this player is.
You can show me. I'm down to look at it, but no promises, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, sure.
Had he just done nothing? Because I don't know that they would have jumped on the diffuser. Maybe they would. Maybe they would have still won it. It's such. I know it's like.
Body on it, and they'd have had 2 body blocks, and then you're playing a dice game.
Yeah, I know it's like hypercritical, and I'm not faulting Lider for taking the kill. If Andy stood there in front of you, you're always going to take it. But it kind of feels like that was the catalyst then for Rebellion to win. Right? It was like, right, he's in customs, right, bang, kill into blue, yeah, get on the defeat, and it just gave them that bit of intel that they needed.
6-3 then for SR. We could be barreling toward an SR win right now as 4 AM on this attacking side, yet to break the deadlock. They got the plan down in the previous round, and even that wasn't enough. But it was one of those occasions where they kind of had to let that happen, and SR happy to play that retake. That was the win con, and they played it to perfection. As it stands though,
I'll take a look.
Out of 4 AM. We've seen glimpses of it, but the age-old one has been they've struggled with moving players from key areas. They're bringing them onto this time, and it's Lider that's on it. Now he's their top performer.
Thought you couldn't hear me. Can you?
I always find it strange when you see your top player on the shield, but is that going to be what's needed to try and force some of these SR players out of position?
Well, Andy manages to take down the ace. That's going to be Rockstar off the board, but they do manage to find a trade here for it. So they keep things to 4 versus 4, and they've still got the shield on the board as well.
The frame is real. Oh no, it's the same actually. JK.
Kind of all persists, all continues. Only question is, are they going to be missing any hardware? He's might have taken a ton of damage there from the Nitro, but how about that? Absolute beauty with the pistol to take down Canadian. Leaves them now 1 versus 3, but the Monte is hurt at this point. About 15, 20 HP left. How about that though? You've got to stop the jump outs. You can't let Wrexham play like that. However, the trade is there again. Could be around for 4 AM on the way.
Not really sure. Tip the.
We've seen him put in this position a couple of times already today. Players now recovered. Lider and Darsley both super low. 2 Brown. The Zoto canister there, destroying the death mark. Spoit picks up his first location now known. But he's got some information to play with here. Lider's going to start to get this diffuse down, but he's got the DMR. He's going to continue to put himself in these Zoto canisters and try and stay alive. Bit of a blunder there as he tried to swap weapon, had to hit the smoke, but it's a very broken up 1 versus 2 this, and he's got a massive chance. C4 just going to go live.
He just missed that shit too.
That C4 was the moment. That was the one for Spoit. If he gets the kill onto the Monty there, even with the diffuser down, he leaves himself in a 1v1, but not managing to hit the mark, not managing to find his man, now leaves him in an almost unwinnable situation. Lider with that shield, of course, can just hold him at bay. The death mark coming through again, but going to be failed because of the Zoto canister. But now Spike is left just running, trying to find anything. He's scratching for whatever he can get out of this round. The nade is going to do the job. TX it is to pick up the final kill, but it was really well played by 4AM there at the end. It's not easy in a 2v1 situation. I talk about this a lot. When you have to plant for that 7 seconds, you are leaving your other player in a 1v1, and that is the moment. When the plant is going down, that is always the moment for the defender in that situation, in that 1v2. And Spike knew that, because if he can get in position and hit that nitro a second sooner, put the diffuser down on the ground, that advantage has then completely swung in his favour. And 4AM didn't allow that to happen. They were decisive. They got themselves into position early enough to put the diffuser down, and I like how they were able to close that out. So well played from 4AM. They get themselves another. It's 6-4.
Super close stuff. Can we not just watch Spike try and 1v4? I could quite happily just sit and watch that for some portion of time. Brilliant seeing the way that he tried to navigate it, and like I say, if that natural second earlier, if it hits, he's then in control of the diffuser, and the narrative is very, very different. But we're finally seeing 4AM win a round on the attack here, and it could be the start of a couple. SR, no strangers to taking a bit of time to close out a game. They haven't been the most convincing during kickoff, hence one of the reasons why they are here inside of stage 1. But they only need one round to, and they've got a lot of different bomb sites to try and get that done on. They're going to be headed downstairs this time. Downstairs towards bathroom. Hoping for them that it could be something a little bit different.
Yeah, so I feel like we've seen a better couple of rounds there from 4AM using that Monty over the last couple of rounds of kind of the space that it's given them. This time, they're not going to bring it through a lot. So the question is, can they continue doing that? Can they continue having that same sort of impact? Or do we go back to kind of pre-shield 4AM where they're struggling to deal with problem spots, struggling to deal with those difficult positions and take space? Time will tell. Spike is one of the positions that I'm thinking about, because that was something that they weren't able to deal with the last couple of occasions. Spike's played there on the Thorn, he's played there on the Ella, and he's had success both times.
Consistently seen success inside of CCTV, and I'm sure he's going to be looking to replicate some of the same. TX taking a good portion of damage there, as once again, it is just a spot that's being avoided. They're not even trying to deal with him horizontally or vertically, it's just, we're just going to let him exist up there and just take our chances. Andy's caught on to this, by the way. He thought, you know what, we can't have Spike having more kills than me. I need to get in on this action and start to play onto customs as well, because it's a big entry point at the minute for 4AM. As it stands, it looks like TX has been able to slip that net. Canadian primed and ready. Brilliant spot for a C4 here, just at the bottom of East. You can thread it all the way up through. The beams are in a good orientation for you to do so. And if he times this right, he might find himself a couple.
Yeah, he's just waiting for that little bit of information. I think he's going to be playing it on sound mostly. But as soon as he hears those footsteps coming in, actually, no, Ambi can feed him the intel and tell him when the pressure is coming onto that door. So again, it's another example of just great team play from Rebellion. Nitro goes out. It's going to be just that little bit too soon. Fraction of damage done to the ace, but it's not going to be the end of the world. However, 55 seconds left to go. 4AM have been stalled out for quite a long time here. Lider manages to get one onto Spike. They clear that difficult position, but is it going to be too little, too late?
Rexon finds one, levels things out right now. HP advantage is certainly with SR, although after losing Canadian, I'm now not too sure. Gotti and TX super low though. 33 seconds. There's still time here to work with for 4AM, but we're just looking a little bit disjointed. We've still got Surf playing upstairs inside of Army. We've still got Ambi playing on that 90 corridor, and we've still got players moving through now. Ambi continuing his charge. It does know that there's going to be a nomad charge there, but isn't going to be able to do anything about it. Surf comes in with the next. It's all down to Rexon, but everyone's so low. TX is able to find him there, tucked inside of the bathroom. I think Rexon just doing his best to try and stay alive there.
TX and Gotti making the absolute most of what little HP they both had. You said yourself, they were in a situation where despite man advantage, they had those two low HP players, but it was those two players that were alive at the end of the round and picking up those final kills and bringing us into a 12th round. We are going to see.
Oof, my face.
I think it's high time that we get the timeout here from SR. Don't think we were able to listen into the timeout specifically. It is just the midway one. But the topic of conversation here has to be, look guys, close this game out. Shut the door on it, because the longer it drags on, the more time we spend in the server. There's still a best of three to be played at the end of this if we get through. We don't want to be fatigued. I mean, it's early days, and it's day one of the major. We're not going to be fatigued.
I hope they're not fatigued in map 2.
Mentally,
yeah,
you don't want to be letting this drag on and on and on.
Yeah.
It just
That's
needs to
the
be
key.
put to bed.
Yeah, that's the key. Because what if you play border against Falcons as well? You know, you start looking at that. Right, we've just been taken to overtime on board by 4 AM, and now we're playing. You know, it's like you said, it's all those little mental games that come into it.
I'm still surprised at the map, and we're going into round number 12.
I mean, look, it's another one that you look at, and we could look at this and say, you know, is this an absolutely prime map choice for Shopify Rebellion, or, you know, does it maybe give 4 AM that little bit of an opportunity to get themselves into it? Like you said, Border, great leveler. You know, we used to say the same about Coalsign when it was in the pool as well. It's one of those gunfight heavy maps where teams can just come out and kind of win things, but you've got to look towards the rest of the tournament as well. You know, we can't just look at this situation in front of us. You've got to think, you know, there's a whole game plan here for the rest of the tournament. Rebellion are playing a fifth choice map here because they're probably looking and thinking, we can get that done against 4 AM.
Exactly.
And what it does mean is that we're not showing more of the maps we really want to play when we might need them for map 3 against Falcons, for example. You know, so I think there's a lot of things that play into it. It's not just about the game in front of us. But yeah, it's been, look, I think I'm certainly looking at the positives here for 4 AM. I think the rounds that they've won, they've been good value for the wins. You know, they certainly haven't been given anything by Shopify Rebellion. It's not been an easy time for them. They've had some difficult problems to solve. They've had some, you know, difficult clutches to make at the end of rounds to get stuff shut out, and I think they've done a great job of it. So, you know, win or lose, I think 4 AM come away from this pretty happy with the performance.
Rockstar will be positioned at the top of those deep stairs along with the Monty. They're using this as their beachhead for this round. They've really been quite heavy focused on toward customs and detention area to be that first sort of entry point. And it's, you know, not really worked out too good for them. They've done alright. I mean, it's had they picked up 2 rounds, so you can't say that it hasn't worked at all, but it hasn't assisted with the big problem. The big problem has been Spoilt playing inside of CCTV with Ambi as the link. You can't just stand there, lie there. He's been the best player so far for 4 AM, and just flat stuff in break door.
On the Demos, of all players to lose, you know, such a key component of any attacking lineup, and it just gets caught completely off guard as if there wasn't going to be any attention towards it. And he's peeped that door every round he's been playing there. Big mistake coming in from 4 AM, and look, it's lessons like that they are going to learn from as a team, as players that are new to this level of play at an international major against a team like Rebellion. You're going to be punished for the fractional mistakes. You better believe you are going to be punished. You're not going to get away with it.
Háblame, bebé, quédate a mi lado. Ah, no, 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 no. Need your 2 minutes here.
From Darsley to try and make a little bit of progress, but
not right now.
really difficult to transition through that as a Monty. You can smoke it
Sorry.
out, yeah, sure.
Busy.
Still, there are going to be players that are able to work through it.
Sorry.
C4 going up from below, for goodness sake. As kills continue.
I'm streaming right now. I'm busy. Nope. I cannot. But I've screenshotted your name and I'll add you. And we can talk later.
You know, if they don't get that, they will drop down to the lower bracket, and they will then be only 1 loss away from exiting the tournament. But it was always going to be a tough start for them. But on the side of Shopify Rebellion, it has been pretty great so far. I think you're going to be more than happy. The North American side managed to get the job done. They get it.
Bye. Have a good day.
We've seen some great teamwork from them. We've seen some great individual moments. Yes, I'm sure there are elements there that they will look at and think there's room for improvement, but overall, I think you can be pretty happy with that as a start at the Salt Lake City Major.
And the job is done now. They have cemented that fixture against Team Falcons coming up shortly or later on this afternoon. And of course, we have already got our other best of 3 decided for the afternoon as well. Lost versus Enterprise. We're going to hit a break and then we'll
in, and that's a good start as Surf manages to take down the Sens. 20 seconds left. They've got to have this clear so they can get on the diffuser by the 7-second mark, or they won't have time. 10 seconds as they hunt, trying to find this last man. It's the Twitch, it's Lider. What can they do?
No. There you go. Oh, the audio cut out. That sucks. Oh, this.
All right, it's time for our first best of three of the Salt Lake City Major. You were with another slightly less attractive man to start off this day.
Come on now. You don't win that battle. I'm sorry.
Ollie is, objectively speaking, better looking than I am. One of the teams that will be competing in this particular matchup, Jesse, has yet to play because of a little bizarre circumstances here. That's Los, the Brazilian team that qualified through SAL. They haven't yet played a single map, but their opponents, Enterprise, looked pretty good in their matchup earlier against Edward Jones.
Yeah, I was casting that, as you say, with Ollie, and obviously that was a tough game for EDG because they had to play without their best player, and instead they had Noah, who couldn't communicate great with the rest of the team. Didn't go so well for the EDG squad, but that's okay because they're still alive in the lower bracket, and of course the champions of that matchup, Enterprise, will now be facing off against Los. We'll find out where they're going to be. Of course, it is a full best of 3, so no more best of 1 shenanigans. We'll start on Bank, moving to Chalet, and finish on Cafe. I think a relatively unsurprising map veto coming through here, Parker. Bank is a really interesting pick to come through, I think, particularly from Enterprise, because it's been a really rough map for Los. They play it twice through a kickoff, losing it both times, so we know Los aren't so comfortable on Bank. And EP, I mean, sure, they're playing down in Australia, not the strongest opponent, but they've still been very good on that map.
They absolutely have. I would have loved to have seen a Fortress just to see how these two teams match up on it. But before we can get into map number 1, we got to break ready for the review right back.
time for our very first map and the debut of one of these two teams. We saw the Enterprise matchup earlier today, as you mentioned, going up against the Edward Gaming squad that lost their best player, Direction, who was going to be competing with Edward Gaming, failed to get a visa, and because of that, they had a stand-in. Now, Noah is about as good of an analog as you could get. The guy has been frying people over in the EML, but obviously there's going to be barriers as to how he will be able to succeed.
Yeah.
But there was a caster behind the scenes who said something. He said that Enterprise looks like FaZe Clan right now. I'm not going to say which caster it was, but really, it did look like one of the best we've ever seen of Enterprise on an international event. Is that going to hold here against those?
Well, I mean, I think for their fans, they're obviously hoping so, Parker. This will be a tougher game, but there's a couple of advantages that they have that we talked about in the last match that I want to re-hit here. Number one, they're going to be warmed up, right? Los are coming in cold, and I think it is absolutely to the advantage of Enterprise that they've already played a game today. And number two, this is not the exact same Enterprise that we've seen of years past. They've made a couple of player swaps, but most importantly, they brought in Magnet as their coach. The founding father of Rainbow Six Siege in Australia, was captain of that old Fnatic roster for the better of 6 years. So they've got a lot of experience coming in behind them that most OS teams haven't really had at international events before.
Is there a 3 or a 4? Or?
No, I said 2.
Okay, well, if we had a 30 turn upside down, that's an M for Magnet, so there you go.
Whoa.
It's nice to see him back. I know some people, maybe some of the casual observers who don't watch all of the OS games, especially if you're a North American fan, it's brutally difficult to watch those Australian games live just because of time zones, right? They're usually happening at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. And because of that, a lot of people don't know that Magnet is coaching for them. Now, I will say, I do think he can be a secret weapon here, and I think he's played all over the world. He literally learned Japanese to go play in Japan, for crying out loud.
He did.
But just because you're a good player does not necessarily mean that's going to translate to being a good coach, and this is going to be the biggest test for him. Is he's got an Enterprise team that is very hungry and are a single best of 3 away from qualifying for Phase 2.
Yeah.
They're not in danger of going home. Neither of these teams are.
Correct.
But you're going to be going up against a team that maybe is less of a known quantity, and you have no idea how they're going to compete on land. But I think it's easy to say. This Lowe's team has a lot of land experience. They got Dash back on the team. He's a major winner. He's experienced multiple regions. This might be a significantly harder game for Enterprise than they played against Edward Gaming earlier today.
Yeah, it absolutely should be, but the vibe should still be high. I think this Enterprise team, they've been looking really good so far. You saw it in the last match, like how active they were in the text chat, how engaged they were with each other, and I was honestly surprised by how good Magnet was, the coach, in his tactical timeouts when we got to listen in, just because, you know, this is his first time coaching a team. Kickoff with Enterprise was really his first time, but this is his first test, of course, at a big event, so it's a big change up for him. Now going up against Los, I mean, this is also a team that is not the highest of highs when it comes to South America. Nobody really thought Los would qualify, not because they're a bad team, but just because they play in the most competitive region. I mean, there's so many good teams in South America who did not make it to this event. Team Liquid, the first one that comes to mind, but Los earned their spot here, and they have something to prove in their opening game. 76% of you are giving it towards Los. That is kind of to be expected, but watch out for Enterprise, because they are a deadly roster.
This is a familiar refrain for those that listened to the Paris SI cast we did earlier this year, when Enterprise came in, and we said they had a pretty decent shot of making top 10, or top 12, I suppose. Technically, the top 6 go to the main stage, not the top 8. You know how it works. But Enterprise was also playing that series knowing that they were going to be making pretty big changes from a coaching and a player perspective. How many teams have come into an event where they know they're going to make a roster move, and it has sunk them before a single shot has been fired in their game? So it didn't really give us the best vantage point of how Enterprise would do. And now we've got a team that is 5, it's 5 fighting guys. They've got Mag on the team. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to rise to this challenge. The person that I'm going to be watching, though, is on the side of Los here, Jesse. Perez, who is puzzlingly the only player not in the lobby right now. So I guess
we're going to look for him.
We're going to look for him. And we're really going to look for him really, really hard. Where is he? One of the statistical best-rated players in one of the statistical, if not the most statistical, competitive region, which is Brazil. You highlighted it. People didn't expect Los to make it. Not because they're bad, but because there are 6 teams that could very easily make it. You highlighted Team Liquid Alienware. What about Fuxo W7M?
True.
They also could have easily made this. Now, granted, they lost Wolf. There's been an identity change on that team, but the core is still there. both Team Liquid Alienware and Fluxo W7M could very easily have made this event. They did not. Hugsword will be behind the bench for this Lowe's team as they bring Dash back on for his first LAN game since playing with Wildcard several months ago. He left Wildcard because he said he was a little uncomfortable living in America, away from home. Can't blame him.
And yet he comes right back. Here he is in Utah. Suspicious, if you ask me. Maybe he just didn't like Wildcard.
Well, good news. Nobody's asking you. Nobody's saying, Jesse, do you find it odd that Dash is now back in America when he said he didn't want to be here 4 months ago? And you would say, yes, I do find that suspicious. Thank you very much. But nobody would ask you. Nobody's asking you that question. Okay. Either way, Dash is back on the team. He's been doing some calling for the squad as well, picking up those shields, providing leadership for the team. How will that pay off? We'll have a good glimpse of this very early on. This is Los's map, so Enterprise should have a small advantage in these first 6 rounds.
Yeah, again, it's kind of a weird map pick from Los, just given that they haven't won it ever as a team, but I'm sure they're confident. They must have been scrimming it behind the scenes, and so we'll have to see exactly how they come through with it. Now, I love the drones we're seeing immediately from Enterprise. This is going to be Dark, caught on a Tuberau, and Perez caught on the window punch. Cairo shuts him down early. This heavy roam game from Los is super weird for a bank bottom floor defense, and it's not working for them.
It's with the drive-by question mark.
Oh, they've been doing that all day.
I know, but that's just, you mentally boom when people hit you with that. That's the top player on the side of Los who's down for the count, so not an ideal start for them, and now well over 2 minutes for Los to try and figure out how to play this at an uneven number.
2 on. I think he saw Dash just there on the drone. He played fantastic in that opening game. I believe dropping near double-digit kills, but he didn't quite hit it. It was very, very close in their opening match. Going to be an important player to watch out for, but it seems like everybody's started to fall off. They waste about a minute on the roam, and they lose a body. I'm afraid that's not quite good enough, Parker. This roam game really wanted to get more. Now they just have to rely on those C4s to lock down the site.
Nuxka's in a very familiar spot for his smoke, which is top blue stairs. He's still got all 3 of those gas canisters in pocket. Smoke now also has the deployable shield, so we might see more diversity with the secondary gadget brought from this operator for the time being. If you're playing blue, you're going to want to put down that barbed wire. You're going to want to do a little bit of damage. You're going to want to use the sound cues and slow them down. The big thing for Nuxka now is either throw out your gas canisters and waste time in this position, or get back to site with your life still intact.
Big moment for Dark. Knows that there could be somebody just peeking on this hatch. They want to get it open as quickly as possible, but they're struggling with it just a little bit. The time, of course, won't be slowed by the Tuberau for using the Maverick, but it's still a slow tool to open up that hatch. This has burned about another 60 seconds, meaning we're into the final minute of this round. And we're just starting to look at the bomb site for Enterprise. Nuxka still survives as well towards top blue, so that's going to be a difficult option to try to push through. A lot of this execute is going to have to come either down through the main stairs or through one of the back hatches.
Yeah, the more that this time ticks down, the more I worry for this Enterprise assault. They've got good tools at their disposal, but how do you apply them? There go those gas canisters from Nuxka. On to top blue. He's still got 2 silhouettes nearby. Nuxka could go for a swing here, but he doesn't know if anybody's watching that position. Cairo would turn his attention to that spot. Now Nuxka will head back down towards the safety of the bomb site. 20 seconds left on the clock. Enterprise still with 5 players up. Rubber will meet the road. Dash takes down Jigsaw. Slow peek on main stairs. Tuhon trading out Nuxka. And now it's Tuhon in the middle of the site. Looking to catch a cross here as Diffuse Kick getting planted. Tuhon shut down by Daffo. Baffin getting Diffuser to the halfway point. The Tuberau charging out. Huge coverage from Cairo. And Brendo will seal the deal. Enterprise taking the first round with a scramble in the final seconds.
Yeah, it's close, Parker, but they get it done in the end. That's a really difficult round from Enterprise, and it kind of goes back to that first game that they played up against EDG this morning, where their strength really came on the roam clear. They were doing a great job getting the opening pick. They were working themselves into man advantages consistently, but sometimes on their attacks, even against EDG, the execute was a problem. If it was a large man count execute, they would sometimes stumble at the last moments. Los, whether they read into that just because of the previous matchup or because that was how they saw the round playing out, ended up kind of playing in a similar direction, and that execute got really scary. But importantly, they took that space from the server. They finally cleared up that pick onto Nuxka, and then the coverage from Cairo, just absolutely fantastic. 3-0 to start this game.
Cairo was one brought onto this squad that a lot of people didn't have the most familiarity with after SI, and immediately huge statement kills, taking down Perez right off of the rip. The secret weapon of Los, their top player by a country mile, was not able to do all that much again. you pointed out, I think quite correctly, how much of an ego peak that first engagement was when you don't need to do that. I mean, maybe Los was worried about playing too passive. Sure. That is a real possibility for these teams. And hey, if you think that your opponent is just objectively weaker than you, why not go for spontaneous? Why not go for early aggression? We see this in the interregional matchups.
Yeah.
How many times was top team like? I'm not going to reference examples because then we'll obviously put down other teams. But how many times are you watching the NAL? How many times are you watching? Oh, so you see a team that is in first place spawn peaking one of the lower teams. Most might think that of Enterprise. That could have driven Perez's decision.
I think it's a good vibe check for round one. You know, this is a long best of 3. It's not like our last matches where it's BO1 and everything is on the line immediately. You know, it really is a long game here. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So plenty to work with. Now, Brendo just spotted an opportunity on his drone. He's going to hunt for that as the back of the clash was pointed in his direction. But some attention's been paid. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade. That's huge to be able to get that one pick on the side of Perez. But, man, that could have been so much scarier if Brendo was a little faster.
Nuxka spent most of that first round on very limited HP. He will be in the same predicament here now in round number 2, Jesse, as he is on a sliver playing that clash. Again, a very high-value utility operator for Nuxka. Expect that to continue, whether it be on the start of the clash or beyond.
Yeah, and this shows really good prep work coming out from Enterprise as well. Nuxka often plays the clash on this site. 57% clash pick rate, defending top 4 of Bank, so that's clearly something they read into. They put Cairo on the Collie specifically for this reason, and it's worked out well.
Enterprise will now open up one of those 2-panel walls over by Square Stair as Tuhon assesses his magnificent job. Double sniper is something that really only shows up on a couple bomb sites, on a couple maps. This one is the place on Bank that you will see it most frequently. You can also potentially see it on open area down below, though it is usually more a destruction-heavy lineup that will get brought, and obviously that's something that gets missing when you have to double up on the Kali and the Glass. It sounds like smokes will go out from the attackers. Dash picking off Bappin. Los doing pretty okay here, surviving this initial onslaught.
Yeah, they need to kind of get some picks back. Here's Cairo able to take down Dash. Really good trade game so far coming through from both teams, but now 45 seconds. The rubber needs to hit the road. This is so close from Jigsaw. Has the ping, but just misses the angle barely. If he doesn't get this, this push could be really late coming in once again from EP.
And that was a great flush. Nuxka rotated to try and cover Perez, swinging over towards Conference. Davo was his lone backup. Perez is just so good, and Davo's been permitted to exist in this position for so long. He finds one. Perez will now be hunted down by Jigsaw and this depth mark, playing the fadeaway. Davo looking for the opportunity, and he'll get it. Jigsaw making a ton of noise, charging his way forward. Los will tie things up.
Yeah, really close round once again, Parker. This game is going to come down to the wire is what we're learning early on from these two teams. And I think it really comes down to Enterprise maybe not getting quite enough value out of that Deimos down below. It was Jigsaw playing that position, of course. And he's kind of struggled this game. He was probably the most active player that we saw in their opening duel versus EDG. Didn't top frag, but was certainly the top typer in that lobby. And was backing it up, frankly, with his kills. Haven't seen him come alive just yet through the first 2 rounds here on Bank. So hoping to see a bit more out of Jigsaw. By far the best player in Oceania this season.
I mean, how many times when people talk about Enterprise, they talk about Tuhon?
Sure, yeah.
They talk about Bappin. They talk about these players who aren't necessarily, right now, the names we've said the most frequently. I mean, Cairo's been the most impressive performer so far through 2 rounds. That 3K, obviously hugely impactful, was great at paralyzing those defenders on the Kali in the previous round. Sometimes it's not about kills. Sometimes it's about denying rotates, cut, or mailbox, or all these terms have started to flourish now that you, the general audience, have heard before about somebody who's just going to sit and hold a position.
Yeah.
Old heads will know that there's a certain dog that was named after that spot, or that spot was named after a certain dog back in the day, where your goal is just stand there and hold across. That's all you got to do. And it evolved over time and become maybe a flank position, and now it's gone back to the position it's in where you're going to sit and you're going to deny that rotate. And it was used so effectively. Nuxka got caught in that exact cross in the previous round.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it didn't end up resulting in a victory for Enterprise, but it was still the right idea. There were just other deficiencies. So that's something that you have to credit Cairo.
I'm a little surprised through the first 3 site rotations, Parker, that Los have really just been playing the same strats that they brought throughout SAL. This is their map pick, so you kind of expect them, especially since it wasn't on map, to change things up a little bit. But so far, it hasn't been working. Now, as I say, Perez goes on a little bit more of an aggressive roam. He loves the Valkyrie on this site. That's not new, but the position is, it's a bit active, takes down down Bappin now 0-3 to start this best of 3, and it might give Los a little bit of that edge that they've been missing over the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, the Ram being gone on this middle floor bomb site is really quite devastating. You need the Ram to be there for your soft destruction. You've got the Buck. And I don't know what Nuxco was thinking here, Jesse. He's got Davo for backup. 2 floors above. That's going to actually be retrieval. Brendo and Cairo have other ideas. Brendo finds 2. Suddenly, Diffuse Kit is going down. All of this has distracted not only us, but also Los. Cairo pulls that off. Shield now turned towards the 2 remaining defenders on the side of Los, Dafo and Dark. Dafo with 4 kills, leading the way on the team. A 5th is added to that tally. As Tuhon is dropped, Brendo and Cairo, the 2 to find. Monty in this particular position is oh so strong. We need to be worried about Brendo. Dark was able to stop him for the time being. Cairo's in trouble. Brendo cannot come to his assistance. He's down over towards blue. Shut off again. This is so good by Los to buy time. Dapple getting on the fuse kit. Dark will need to shut him down and will do so. Los, an incredible post round, and they will take the lead.
Really good round coming out both from Dafo and Dark, but I gotta give it to Daffodil in particular, Parker. Such important kills in the midst of that round. I thought Enterprise had found a gap. You know, their execute was really good. So many players were distracted over on that hatch, but somehow Cairo was sneaking in, getting that plant down. But Daffodil continues to impress. He's playing outside of his country just for the first time ever in his career. It's his 2nd international event, but his first was Reload, which is still in Rio de Janeiro. So doesn't really have a lot of experience on an international stage. He hasn't been moving too much. He is in a bit of a new environment here, but still finding the same success that he found domestically down in South America.
They said it.
No, they've been saying a lot.
They said the thing. I've always appreciated the Aussie team bring that Australian sense of humor,
Yes.
the tomfoolery that comes with a lot of. When you ever watch Aussie sketch comedy, sometimes absurdist humor, it really is quite great. We were obviously missing our Australian compatriots who are not here in Salt Lake City. They are presumably enjoying, I don't know, good weather.
They're probably asleep. It's like 4 a.m. for them.
Or they're on DGen Gamer Hours and you're watching. I don't know.
True, probably.
You never know.
It is the
Clocks don't stop for sleep, baby.
3rd biggest tournament of the year. I'd stay up for that if I was an Australian. Snakes, spiders,
Health bars.
yeah, scary things.
Animals that want to kill you at every opportunity. Great beaches.
Sure.
Driving the wrong side of the road. You know, just usual stuff. But either way, I like that Enterprise has brought that style of humor. And Los, if you know the Los team, you know that they are a bunch of jokers. Dash always historically had a good sense of humor. Perez has always jumped in as well. It's something that we as English speakers don't often see a lot from the Brazilian side of things because we don't speak the language. We don't speak Portuguese. But if you ever hear them on Raza's stream and you get somebody to translate, even FaZe Clan, who's, you know, maybe unfairly earned the title of being a bit boring because they are so clinical, they are also some practical jokers here. So expect more of this from Los.
The game plan is not boring from Los, that's for sure. 2 roamers here in the top floor. It's Perez and Dash playing up on these upper angles. And it's definitely known about by Enterprise. Their droning today has been excellent. The shot's not quite enough. Tuhon with the shot. He does find Dash though. That's what they were looking for on this roam game. It sends Perez running for the hills, and he gets caught on the rotate too. Really nice angle being played by Brendo all the way out on this garage repel. That is a massive pick to force this roam game running away.
We have a fuse, shield, and a Hibana shotgun clearing out open area. What on earth are we watching? Embrace Australian and APAC siege, baby. And it worked. It completely cleared that portion of the map away with Brendo outside of the building. And this is something I actually wanted to credit Enterprise with through all 3 rounds, Jesse, which is that even though Enterprise has had issues inside the building, holding angles outside of the building has been a huge strength of theirs so far.
Yeah, no, they've been fantastic with this, and now they've got a 5v3 advantage. If I'm Los, we kind of have to get aggro here, and I don't know how you do it. It's not an easy position to be in. Maybe challenging these hatches is going to be your best bet. That's certainly what Dark wants to do. Going to stop that fuse charge from coming through. Not quite.
A single puck.
Okay.
A single puck.
Got the majority of it and can stall this continuously from opening up with those Dodo canisters. So time is the name of the game. Or it would be, but we're running in and we take down Nuxco 1-for-1. That's good for Enterprise.
Davo and Dark still alive, both of them holding, well, it's a TCSG, let's just say it's a DMR. I know that the gun nuts are going to get upset on that, but played very effectively. And both of these remaining defenders who are upright, as we imagine that Nuxka is not retrievable at this point in time, and don't really think I think he was dead, but that's okay. You've got great weapons in the hands of these defenders. They can very easily get 2 kills without a reload.
2 C4s too.
Lots of things working here for Los in these final 30 seconds. And it really does become incumbent upon Enterprise to find a safe way to get that defuse kit planted. The job will get much more difficult now due to the Goyo canisters. That's 20 long seconds. 20 seconds that you don't have if you were Enterprise, and almost all the ways into the bomb site now denied. The only opportunity is 2 on a single point of HP. Dark jumps up and might have just saved the round. 2 still standing for Enterprise, but Jigsaw finds him. Dark wanted information about whether that defuse kit was being planted. Really good response from Enterprise, and a nail biter of a round.
Oh boy, they were so close with that one, Parker. They had it in the palm of their hands. Brilliant play coming out from Dark to stop that plant in its tracks, but ultimately it just doesn't matter as they hunt down that kill. 4 seconds and they find the kill. He could have ran and hid. He could have hid inside a gold. He had the opportunity, but I think he just didn't know where those last 2 players were. You know, the gold hatch may have been open. He might have thought somebody could have dropped. There could have been something on an elevator. I think his calculus was just, I don't know where they're going to be, so I'm going to hold an angle. I'm going to take this fight. He chooses to peek, and it is the wrong call. He dies with, I believe, under 2 seconds on that clock. Indeed, less than 2 there. So he absolutely could have made it away if he just ran and hid. Tragic to come through in the end, and really a tie game because of that mistake.
Tragedy is the right word here, because the call should be, oh, if they're planting, you have to check.
Yeah.
Right? You've surrendered control of that part of the bomb site. You guys walk in, the defuse kit was by both the open wall and the door connecting to the server. Very easy to pick it up and receive the position. And if Dark's not there to stop it, you know that one of those 2 defenders, the one not planting that defuse kit down, they're going to be sitting there waiting for you. That's going to put Dark in an unwinnable position. So I think the call ultimately was correct. You have to keep for info and hope that you can win a 1v1 off the rip. Because if you don't, it's curtains, no matter what. Ultimately, it was a lose-lose situation for Los. Best attempt you could muster. But Enterprise were able to tie up because
well, this was the double sniper setup brought by Enterprise last time we saw this top floor bomb site. And with the Glav ban, they will peel off and go for a different approach. Bappin moves off the Glav over to the Flores, and many other players have changed their ops up as well. So it will be a different look altogether. Clearly seems like they want to get a plant down in through square. They chose not to reinforce this square wall. They maybe could have shot that Selma off, but didn't end up going for that play. Instead, they're kind of just letting Enterprise have their way with this site. They get a nice pick from Jigsaw, finding Dash, and the entry points have been made really nicely too so far from EP. So if you're looking at Los now, what's the game plan? What's going to be the strat to stop this push from coming through?
I think Dash was hoping that he might take a little bit of damage, but it would be okay beyond that.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I take 1 bullet, but as long as they don't move, they won't see.
This is cool Flores tech. It goes from the roof straight into the window by scaling the building. If you haven't seen that before, that's really sick.
Thank you. Perez is gone now, Jesse, so you had speculated, how do they fix this? They're going to have to do it without their 2 round. They're going to have to do it with their traditional best player, but Dark and Dapo have been making some serious noise. 10 kills apiece, or 10 kills total, 5 kills apiece for these 2. A little bit over a minute still left in this round. Enterprise presumably on the better side of bank here, at least their preferred side, we should say, because we won't have data from this international event. All we can go off of is the kickoff stats, and again, you highlighted that during kickoff, Los was not particularly good on this map.
Yeah.
So why do you come here? Well, there's got to be a reason for it. Maybe Los ends up losing, and the map pool is just still quite weak. That's something we'll find out as we go deeper into this.
Cool. The information's so good here, Parker, but they're not budging from it just yet. 40 seconds to try and make this execute happen, but Enterprise have done it with low time before. Fuse kit being held by Cairo, long shot from Bappin from top square. It seems like it could be a good entry point, but with Cairo still on the windows, he's going to have to rappel in. Maybe that's the win con. Down the Blackbeard and then go for kills.
Dark will swing because you have to at this point in time. You cannot allow your opponents to settle in. It's all up to Nuxka now on a 1v3. Out goes the last gas canister. A reload on the SMG-11. No time for that. Bappin guns him down. Enterprise stitching 2 together. They have regained the lead now. Neither of these teams showing that they are objectively better than the other. This is a dogfight.
I gotta say though, probably the most dominant round that we've seen so far coming out from Enterprise. Start to finish, they had full control of that round. Really good early picks to come through around square. They get a nice frag early onto Dash, and frankly that's been something that has been talked about quite a bit for this Lowe's team, is that Dash, despite being the IGL, is a very active player. He has a ton of early engagements, now back-to-back opening deaths here in this matchup versus Enterprise. And you know, it's not surprising given what we saw him in kickoff. He actually leads opening deaths out of all players throughout all regions on kickoff, so he's been really active dying early. But that's kind of his position, you know, and he's comfortable calling from the grave. That time around, of course, wasn't able to call for any adaptations that ended up working for Los, but keep an eye on that stat now, because back-to-back opening deaths is a bad look for Dash. They do want him getting a bit more active in these early gunfights.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about the role that he plays and the position that he plays, typically those guys are going to be the last to die, not the first. So if you are dying early on high-value ops that also have active gadgets, for those unaware, an active gadget is one that you need to use yourself. A passive gadget is one that's remains when you die. Grail, passive gadget. Smoke, active gadget. If you're dying on an active gadget operator, which thankfully for Dash in this particular round is not the case on the Irish Thorn, then you die with all your value in your pocket. You basically afforded nothing for your team. That is a terrible, terrible spot to be in.
Just wait until the pocket Goyo comes out, Parker, and then we'll be silly calling Goyo the passive gadget operator.
I just don't understand why you can't throw the canisters and then shoot them out of midair. I think that would look spectacular.
That's the next Goyo set coming.
Yeah, oh.
Ooh. Scary. Flashy isn't what it used to be.
No, it's not, and neither is limb damage though, so I guess it kind of balances itself out.
True.
You get that foothold over towards electrical and there's no way, right?
Yeah, they don't know.
Outrageous! Cairo gets taken down by Nuxka and allows Perez to get away. And that Monty is living on borrowed time. Look at this full court press for the moment. Enterprise is not hitting their shot with that. Los with 2 minutes still left in this round. Very well positioned to tie things up in the first half.
Perez is playing this so well, Parker. Because of his gadget on the visual, they didn't know where he was. They didn't think he was so close to the closet door, and it allows him to create that panic, that distraction that eventually takes down Cairo. Now it's a man advantage for Los, and we start to get a bit awkward on the side of EP because they've dedicated 0 resources for taking top floor. They've dedicated 0 resources into the site so far. They have a lot of positioning outside the building, great. They've got a lot of angles opened up, but they need something to start this push. They need a way to actually get into the building and get that plant down. Right now, they still don't have it.
All calm now as Enterprise scrambles to find a new way in without that Monty. You are spot on. This is a tough position to be in. They will go with this upside down skyline propel, which by the way, works more often than you think if Vapin gets the pick. Back to even footing with a minute still to go.
That's full top control too, Parker. That is something they didn't have previously. This wasn't the initial game plan, but they had to pivot since losing their Monty, and now they can start to go for a vert play despite not having a lot of vert operators themselves.
Very active on these main stairs as well, watching this position, and still have to cross as Brendo gets closer to the bomb site. He'll give himself away, shooting soft wall, leading into the teller's portion of this map. And Staffo tucked in a position where he can't really do all that much. Dash pops up, down goes Brendo. Bit of a late EE1D, but used as a desperate attempt with 20 seconds to go. Los holding the advantage, but just like that, Bappin will trade things out. Nuxco with one of his own on the 2-on. Jigsaw's down, and Bappin will need to clutch. Bappin with 6 kills, that's all he'll get in the first round. 1 per round, though. That's not that bad. We got a team speak listening for you.
Don't worry, I've got it. 30 points, all good. Yes, sir. That's not bad.
Alright boys, everyone listen up. I need everyone right now to take 3 deep breaths, especially you, Cairo. Guys, we are getting way too flustered, okay? We just need to calm the fuck down, okay? We still have a lot of fucking options, okay? But forget about the attack. We're gonna go defense. Make sure we're deep breathing while I'm fucking talking, okay? For basement, guys, they're just gonna do a default, but we just need to be careful of the Nook lurking lobby or going garage, okay? On the CEO, we're gonna have Harry on Warden, okay? They're gonna sprint in with fucking Blitz, or we need auto, so just need to care the quick plant on CEO, okay? Other than that, we're gonna be running our new strats anyway, yes? For open area, new strats. We just need to make sure we don't get pushed and pulled too much around, okay?
Yeah.
For now, guys, listen. We were in the driving seat for the fucking whole half, okay? We just need to calm down and play together, okay? Make sure on defense, we're picking our win.
Não, já anime, é verdade.
Perfeito, então.
Então, admira, mano. Aí,
defesa TV, what about?
defesa TV, aquela requadrada deles, a gente vai fazer as caçadas padrão com o W comigo de capitão, você de quem? E lembra que o cara passa pra trás do serve, ou da trás do serve, então a gente vai executar ele no campo.
I was quite enjoying hearing what Mag and the rest of Enterprise were saying.
Yeah, I mean, definitely trying to calm the nerves a bit, eh? Like, you know that this is a young team still here on bank, and particularly calling out Cairo to maybe dial things back a little bit, try to get a bit less in his own head. That's so important, especially for an IGL. You know, you're leading this team, you have to be the voice in the server while things are going on. He's still a bit of a young player, you know, this is only his second international event after attending the Montreal Major back in 2024. So it's been a while since he's been kind of at this level as well. I'm glad to hear that from Meg. You know, from a 6-year veteran who's been around the block, who has done so much for Australia in Rainbow Six, to identify that and try to calm things down for the next generation of OCE captains. It is really important to hear that coming through from SAC timeouts. You heard beyond that, of course, focusing on new strategies, worry about some of these open area defenses, but still in control of this game. This is Los' map pick, don't forget. So if Enterprise can come out of that first half 3-3, if they can come into the second half with still some gusto, I mean, they're in a good spot in the series.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't gotten any closer or farther away from victory, which, again, is a bit deceptive depending on these maps. You know, if the defenders are supposed to win 5 of the 6 rounds, for example, and you come out in the first half with 3 wins as a defender, you're technically no closer to a victory, but that's bad. That's very bad. Because you are falling well below your expectations. So, again, Bank is a tricky one because I feel like it has among the most volatility of all the maps. There are times where teams will look like juggernauts defending this, you know, cavernous map, and then you'll have times where the attackers are just running roughshod over them. When you've got a team like Los that has played this map a number of times, they've really seen a lot of success. They're making their very first play here at, you know, Atlanta. Then you get Enterprise, who, well, they're used to playing, Siege, which doesn't always match up well against the Brazilian squads. Doesn't really match up well against other international events. It can be a bit tricky to try to determine which side is better, but given that it was Los' map, Enterprise wanted to go on attack, that leads me to believe that they were hoping for more than 3 rounds. And I mean, 4-2 is usually the most common scoreline. If you're not achieving that, most of the time you're in bad shape.
Plenty still to do here on the defensive side, though, and I do think Bank is one of those maps where it can be quite 50-50, but different sites lean quite heavily. Like, this basement can be very defender-sided, whereas the top floor can often be quite attacker-sided. So, just because the overall map is 50-50 doesn't sometimes mean that every round is likely to be a coin flip. We'll have to see what this Enterprise defense looks like. Again, they said they were bringing out new strats, and they certainly haven't lied about that. This is a really cool setup here with your Rudy trying to stall down these hatches. You pair that with a 2-brow, and getting the hatches open is going to be really tough work, frankly. And then you've got Cairo as well here on the Tachanka, but Tuhan inside a garage, maybe the most aggressive player. It's not a really heavy roam coming out from these guys, just a couple of open area players. Tuhan did get caught on a drone. I believe his foot was visible inside garage. Whether Los want to capitalize on that currently doesn't seem so, but just keep an eye out for that late round. If they do try to pivot to this garage side, they should have some intel working with the idea of Tuhan is down there.
Well, we've got another best of 3 awaiting us after this matchup. It's Shop versus Falcons. Falcons had some struggles against Daystar earlier. It was a 7-4 scoreline for Falcons when they ultimately persevered. Shopify Rebellion had some problems with their matchup. 7-5, I believe the scoreline it was, if memory serves correctly.
It's never easy for SR fans.
No, and I mean, again, whether it just be that, you know, Troy with his ties to Dark Zero and never letting a single map look easy, maybe it just continues no matter what org it is. Obviously, is trying to, you know, make a joke here. But,
yeah.
Not the funniest of jokes, but either way, I mean, it wasn't an easy game for either of us, frankly.
Yeah. Intentional drone suicide from Mexico to try to clear that out. You've gotten rid of it now. That's a tricky trap from the arena. You can stand below it on the little case that's down inside a server, and you can unactivate it until some heartbreak gets put on. Wasn't being played that way, but you do need to clear that gate out as soon as you can.
What do you think that frag grenade was for?
I genuinely don't know. I feel like...
I think he fat-fingered because he's playing on a recruit.
Yeah. He might have thought he had EMPs. We'll have to get his thoughts on it after.
that's one piece of utility that's down, and I mean, you've still got plenty of nades remaining. Next go with 2 in pocket. Perez has 1, 2, so you've got some fallbacks here. Not the end of the world if you have to rely on somebody else to do it. You've opened up a small portion of the wall, and out goes the Goyo canister, or rather the flame change the Tonkai. So you've got a Goyo, but there's no Goyo present for Enterprise. They will just try to use those Molotovs as effectively as possible. Cairo still has 12 of them, now down to 11. So he'll be able to blanket that area. It doesn't do as much damage as you'd hope, but it can still be really good at disincentivizing people to push in that direction. A drop now in from Dash. A fire comes away. 2 kills, 3
Just
kills
take the
now for
moment,
Los.
'cause
Only
I'm
1 answer
sure.
by Enterprise. The second will fall.
That's
Cairo
it, I
back
listen
on
to
the board,
by
keeping this
myself.
one as close as it can
The
be.
same music
Confused
ain't
his
got the
plans, so
same
Max and
song.
Dash will now find themselves
I like
guarding
that
that
old
pace.
time
A
rock
nice
and
play by
roll.
Mappin to find his 3rd
I
kill.
like that old
Now it's
time
all up to
rock
Nuxka.
and roll.
This rat angle.
That
Oh
kind of
my
music
goodness,
just
this is a tight one to
soothes
hit.
the
Ignore the defenders.
soul.
Firing away, giving his position up. Out goes the nade to dislodge him. T'Chaka will take the engagement. Cairo goes down. Babin looking great, 10 kills. He can do that if he gets Nuxka here. But Nuxka's playing the black dude on the angle. There was no hope whatsoever. Los, take the lead.
Yeah, really advantageous 1v1 from Nuxka. He's got the timer on his side, plays it really nicely there. A little scary because it got down to the 2v1, but ultimately works in their favor. Great little attack to come through from Los. It's not so worried about all the stall. You know, they got top floor for free. They saw what they were playing up against. They saw all of those Aruni gates and Zoto canisters and T'Chaka fire. Like, there was a lot to stop that plant, but it didn't let them stall their pace. They were able to get things down relatively nicely. Whether there were some maybe misclicks with the striker or not, they managed to get the job done, and it's a really nice play to come through despite the best efforts from Babin. Good little closeout to come through from Nuxka, a player that we sometimes do worry about when it comes to the kill department, especially on the attack. Out of all the players attending the major here in Utah, Parker, Nuxka has the worst offensive KDR out of all of these players. The attacking stats have not been his game. He is a shield player, I want to preface that. You don't expect him to be getting a ton of kills on the offense, but when he needs to, he absolutely can fire back, and that was a good example of it here on the first Daga Bank.
Yeah, I was going to say you could have fooled me there. Man went on a heater. I don't know if nerves played a part there for Enterprise. I mean, that was the big focus for Mag. We only got to hear a portion of the timeout before we went over to Los's side of things. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to diagnose what is going wrong. And I mean, not a lot is going wrong. This is still a relatively competitive series.
Yeah.
There's still at least one more map to play. Chalet picked by Enterprise. But if we don't end up seeing that 3rd map, then that means Los will walk away with both of them. It is possible that the side swap really does benefit this Los team. They don't have the best track record on Bank. We've said that a number of times now. It might come up yet again in one of the remaining rounds, but
yeah,
Los did look a little bit more comfortable with the way that they were playing around the entirety of this map.
And that is reflective of kickoff, right? 30% defense win rate on this map through kickoff, 42% on the attack from Los. So it's not great on either side, but it is better on this offensive side, which might be part of the reason why Enterprise wanted to start on the attack here up against the Brazilians. But in any case, you play both sides in a game of Siege. It's going to be the same one way or the other. Dafo's starting to work on this elevator wall, and it might start making the positions a little bit awkward here on the top floor, being spread out by Enterprise. With that wall opening up, the entire hallway is going to become a no-no zone for Enterprise to play around, and it kind of forces them to sit a little bit more passively, a little bit more steady inside of the bomb site. They can't get aggressive as they might have wanted to over towards lobby or over towards stock.
I understand that it's meta right now on this bank map, but seeing upside down repels are just so goofy for me. Oh my! He wasn't in the building, it wasn't on the skylight, but Dafo takes care of Brendo, and that might be an opening now for Los to get far more aggressive. It seems that will be the call as they assert themselves on that spiral staircase, heading now towards this top floor. Governed by Dark, looking through his scope. Down goes Perez at the hands of Tuhon. The Monty now spotted by Jigsaw as he's prone. Dark taking damage from places he's unaware of. Nuxka dies at the hands of Bappin, and there's another for Bappin from this same position. Now he has to deal with Dafo and Dash, one of whom isn't even in the building. Dash still outside, not far removed from the Azami. An upside down repel from Dafo will come in, almost taking care of Bappin. He did break double digits. We mentioned that was something that he was looking for. He repelled his entire way down that skylight, or in main hobby. What an incredible moment from him. Dash and Dazzle now as they're going to smart glasses, and they snap their fingers, and Jigsaw and Tuhon get the final 2 kills, and we are tied yet again.
We go back and forth and back again, Parker. It is Bappin, the hero of that round, to take a bad situation and turn it into something winnable. Really big moves over towards the main stairs from the youngest player here in the lobby, just 20 years old. Bappin has quite a lot of experience despite that. Throughout the years here on Enterprise, is the longest standing member of EP, tied with Tuhon, joining in June of last year, and it really does kind of showcase in his gameplay just how comfortable he is with this roster. It's something I praised them for in their earlier game versus EDG. I'm going to praise them again here today against Los. The team play on the side of Enterprise is really sharp. You can tell these guys have been putting in the work together to be able to trade off each other's comms. They look really comfortable playing as a unit. If one guy dies, someone else is there really quickly, frankly, to come through and get that kill back. And I won't say it's a weakness of Los. Like, I haven't noticed any major mistakes where they're not playing together. But Los is a brand new roster of 5 players who were not playing together 3 months ago. The Enterprise core at least have their roots going back, even if they made a few roster changes. For Los, they're a brand new team coming in, and so you have to look at that and say, well, when it comes to the coordination, when it comes to the team play, Enterprise actually are the better team. And it's keeping them alive in this game.
Because I can't see. Oh, my glasses are over there. Let's see. All right. Oof. I'm gonna fix this thing right now. Yuki! Hi, Yuki! Yuki, come here. Come here, Cuckoo. Oh. Yuki. I see you. Yuki. You gonna leave? Bye, Cuckoo. Bye.
Playing the windows up on the top floor. Of course, they had Dapo playing a slingshot up through the hatch on the Amaru. They had Dash pushing in through the electrical closet, and then it was that duo of Nuxka and Perez coming in through the printer window that really dealt the damage as all eyes were in the other directions. Those two were able to step up and really cause havoc inside the bomb site. Nice multi-kill coming out from Perez in the midst of that. Certainly the star of that push. And frankly, in the 3v2, with how much map control Los had over on that cafeteria side, there was no hope to win things out. The plant was free. Enterprise's position was really bad. From start to finish, that rush did exactly what it had to, and it gives Los the lead.
Perez has had a very quiet game. The depth on Los has been paying off. Dapo leading the charge here, as you can see. Perez finding 2 kills under the cover of darkness, while Enterprise was fixated on that shield, asserting itself over by the room staff area. Ultimately, these teams are both really well balanced, which means that there is still a high likelihood that one of them will make it out of Phase 1 and into Phase 2. It's just a matter of who's next, right? Our next matchup is going to be Team Falcons from EML versus the NAL team, our Shopify Rebellion. One of those two teams will clinch a spot in Phase 2. We'll be saying goodbye to some teams tomorrow. It will be a bit of a sad affair, but we do need to start sending teams home.
Yes.
You seemed upset.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, the loser of this game plays the winner of Daystar versus 4 a.m. So not a free game, but I think the winner of this, or the loser of this, will still be favored to make it into Phase 2.
Don't you think it's kind of silly that 4 a.m. has to play with only 4 of 5 players because of their name? Like, just call yourselves like 5 angry players.
No. It's 4 angry men, so that means one guy is really chill.
Oh.
One dude is so relaxed. The other 4 are pissed.
4 angry men, one mildly perturbed.
Yes.
Yes. If I was funnier, I would have come up with other puns, but...
Well, it's okay, Parker. You don't have to be funny when you're pretty.
Let's see what marks in the dark.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Not anything to call a name, not anything to call a name.
Kara's playing the Jackal for the first time that any Rainbow Six player has picked this off in almost 5 years, so really nice to see that coming out. It's Jigsaw taking the Jiggle Pete up against Dark with some long-range firepower going both ways, but ultimately Jigsaw's position does not have to be given up. This roam game has been really committed to sticking around, and so far it is successful.
Only person who's taken any real damage at this point in time is Dafo, who is leading the way in, as he's done many times now on attack. This is a good stalwart defense from Enterprise. Dafo, the only one on the board so far. Really consistent kills across the entire board for Los here, Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, this roam game's been working together. They've been playing off the yokai cameras from Cairo. They've been getting active. I mean, we see Tuhon on the top floor, ratting inside a CEO, still just activating the mines that he wants active. And whether they know he's here or not, Parker, this is going to be a huge threat. I think they're aware that he could be, but they don't really have the time to clear him out. 65 seconds on bank basement? Like, this is one of the most stall-heavy bomb sites in the entire map. The fact that Tuhon has been left on the top floor means they can't really think about him. He is going to strike at some point in the next 55 seconds, and when he does, it's going to be devastating for Los.
So, what are we looking at here on the side of Enterprise? Lots of passive gadgetry, still up, some good guns in hands. Yokai drones likely positioned to assist Cairo. Cycling through where he wants to position this, it looks like blue is where that Yokai drone will go, and Dash just missing an opportunity. He'll find the next one. That's one fewer gadget for the defenders. 20 seconds remain. Enterprise still have time to get those Yokais that were on the main floor now closer to the bomb site, as Dash will attempt to get the plant down with Dark and Davo watching. Dash still a little bit outside of reach. Now there we go. Diffuse kit going down. Nice play by Jigsaw. Cairo getting in as well, but Nitro Cell will get them all except for Davo, who's covering from above. 2 of the remaining 3 players of Enterprise now looking for this middle floor.
That shit was crazy.
Davo wanting to break double digits. Nobody attempting to get onto that diffuse kit. Timer still running away. They don't have information on where Davo is. Nice play by Brendo to tie things up. We're going to need all 12 rounds of this first map, as it's 5-5 with Enterprise tying us up again.
Beautiful little defense coming through there. I was really excited to see what the Fenrir would be doing up on that roam, but he just came back to sight through the gold hatch, Parker, and to one extent, maybe you're thinking, well, he could have gotten a little bit more value on the roam game, but I think it's the right call from EP, just playing it safe, you know, not knowing that you're in the advantage. They've got very little time. You can deny that plant with C4s. They didn't quite deny it in time, but I mean, 3v1 post plant, 2 guys running up towards the top floor. That's losable, but it's still favorable for EP, so I like the way they played that in the end. It's good enough to get them tied at 5, as you said. Now all rounds of regulation will be required, and I think it poses a bit of an interesting challenge for Los, because if that's how EP are going to play the rest of this map, if they're going to be quite aggressive, they're going to be
that was easy.
moving around the place.
All right.
It worked incredibly well for them, and now as we enter the second last round of regulation, they will not go back to the top floor. They will not go back to open area. We brought out archives and tellers for the first time here at the major, so this could be a huge turning point. It's a bomb site that is relatively weak, especially if you're just going to anchor it. But if you extend outwards, if you try to play aggressive, just like EP did in the last round, it can be very tough to crack open.
Jesse, it's talking about opening kill time. My favorite time of the day. Second only to round number 11, where, actually this right here is round 11 because the team that that wins this goes to match point. Yeehaw! The opening pick has been consequential in 8 of the 10 rounds. Only twice has it fallen short, once for Los and once for Enterprise. There's an extraordinarily high likelihood that if you can get that first opening pick, and it is not a trade. Granted, there's only been one opening pick trade, and that was back when Enterprise lost that round after getting the opening pick. If you do not trade, you got a really good chance of going all the way. So look for who can strike first. It's relatively even across the board. 5-5 for both of these teams. So would stand to reason. Even in the rounds where they traded out, the opposite won. Yeah, we're back. It's great. I love when numbers do this, Jesse. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
On all stats, it shows just how evenly matched these two teams are. It's been a great game of bank so far here in Utah, and we're hoping to see a little bit more of that through 2 rounds and hopefully some overtime as well. Dark gets in the building. The C4 rips, but it will miss quite a ways away, but that's okay. Just got in as fast as he could on the side of Dark to take that space and avoid the nitro cell. Job far from finished though, Harper. Great you got top floor control, but most of this defense has been committed to the main floor. The hallway over by elevators has been absolutely filled with utility. I like the IQ from Perez. He's spotting out these echo cameras. He's spotting out some more information, of course, with the Mozzie as well. Go find the Banshees. Go find Jigsaw if he's activating his gadget. With a really high value pick to come through from Perez. If he can use that to work a pick or clear out some utility, it might open the door. But for now, all the util still remains from Enterprise, and I think they're a pretty good spot in this round.
I like the works. I like how active we're seeing retail operators and Enterprises. Don't see a lot. Certainly don't see a lot of this bomb set. Yes, Jesse, you did reference the fact that it archives colors. It does for your recording because it appears as often as I'm a jackal.
Or Oryx.
Or Oryx.
Sun right here.
The purple operators reigning supreme. First down, and they'll come in a pair. Cairo and Jigsaw both removed. Perez, the only one to strike on the side of Los. Enterprise with those 2 picks and immediately reposition. Jesse, that is huge. They took out the shield, they took out the ram, and the floor above their heads, the ceiling is safe. Dappa will find an opening as Baffin sitting at that front teller's desk is punished from that position. Talk about how close this is. Enterprise struck first. High likelihood they'll carry on to win the round. Logic bombs will go off now, running out of time. Dash getting the piece hit down. There goes Dappa. Dash manages to survive it for a moment. It's all up to Perez now as Enterprise is swept through what remains of these attackers. A really poor showing compared to what we saw domestically for Perez. He will have 3 players to find in order to win this round. He's not going to get a single one of them. The final 3 on Enterprise survive without barely a single point of damage done in the final moments. And the Aussies will go on to match point.
Really cool strat coming out once again from Enterprise. You can see how well they pressed for this map, Parker. It sounds like we're going to time out here. Probably the one from Los. See if we get a listen into this one as we are seeing Mag put a headset on. I'm hearing nothing.
I'm not hearing anything.
Shit. I'll take it as an opportunity to hype up how that defense was so strong once again, Parker. We talked about the Oryx, and it's really not a common operator, but he has 2 big strengths that no other operator in the game has. Number 1, he can jump up hatches. Just a completely unique ability to defenders that can only be used by Amaro on the offense. And 2, he can bash those shields, so he's a really good counter to the Monty. And both of those factors came into play in that last matchup. We watched Jigsaw rotate up the main stairs on the Solus. He got a big pick by making that aggressive move halfway through the rounds to disrupt that push. But at the same time, Cairo jumped up the hatch from open area into stock, and he managed to make a huge play, killing the Monty in the midst of that push. And once they had that 2-man advantage, it was so tough for Los to convert in the 5v3 deficit. It just became really awkward. I don't know if Cairo actually used the dash to kill the Monty. I think he didn't need it in that moment, but in any case, he uses the jump up from stock to be able to make that play, and it also comes through to be able to stop that Monty off on the top floor. Really impactful play from both of those roamers, and if Enterprise can continue that, if they can continue to get aggressive in the midst of those rounds while those are still setting up their execute, it could really set things up to make things difficult for Los. This is back-to-back rounds now where EB have played quite aggressive, and it has given them the win con. Los need to find an answer now, or they will be going down 0-1 in this series.
one to be for Los. I would have loved to have heard what was being talked about by Enterprise, Jesse, but alas, it will remain forever a mystery. Do or die now for Los. You were right to point out how challenging this map has been, and it really does speak to their map pool if they have to rely on going to maps like Bank and ultimately fumble it, right? There is a glaring hole in your map pool. Either you got completely beaten in the map ban phase by Mag and Enterprise, or, I don't know, you think higher of a map than you should.
Yeah.
It is a bit of a mystery here, but you pointed this out. This is a newer team, this is a newer roster, all coming together to gel, so there will be growing pains.
Well, it's going to be tough to come back from this. This will be Los' third straight loss on Bank if they do manage to fall in this contest, round 12, up against Enterprise. So we'll see how it comes through for them. They've got to have a good plan to stop this aggressive move. They've gone top floor on the side of EP, and they've brought out this clash with Cairo, which was first seen by Nuska earlier on in this matchup. It was the call he brought out by Enterprise, which really shut down that play, but this time that isn't really being brought by Los. They don't have any great answers to this clash other than just playing Vert or trying to get behind her. If Cairo can survive, either by playing over towards Square or even over towards Elevators, he's going to be a real menace that they don't have a good response for.
A lot of it is going to hinge on this shield play. You are absolutely correct about that. Right now, on Repel, one of the slower rounds, opening picks have been happening in the twos, which means they happen within the first minute of play when there is still a 2 in front of the timer. Right now, as you can see, we are after the halfway point, so time burning very quickly, and that is a problem for Los, because Enterprise will be very glad to spend the next minute and 10 seconds not really doing all that much. Defenders win the round if the timer hits 0, so Enterprise is saying, all right, take all the time in the world that you need. They're trying to isolate the clash now. Let's see, multiple players are focusing on Cairo. Now Perez's hands will down below, too hot to the rescue, punished by Perez. Perez finding kill number 8. Out over the flashbangs. Baffin moved as he position now. Flash jet again. Expecting to vault in. A little belated now here and an easy pick, but he's killed by Dapo. Perez also on the board. Enterprise, one player trailing in numbers.
Everybody wants
Jigsaw
a
will survive
treat.
that flash on the ground. Dapo picked off by Brenda. 2v2, but Perez is still on the board. Softly quiet.
Everybody wants a little treat. Hi Yuki, you want a treat?
Very limited time remains. Dark with no dash 2 remaining. Will not hold that defuse kit. He's being slowed as he now plods his way through the CEO office. Finding the warden. Oh my goodness, getting away from it. Brendo just needs to hide. Do not overpeak, do not overcommit. But Brendo finds him anyway. Enterprise takes Los' map and go up 1-0 on the series.
A statement for the Australians. What a game to come out 7-5 as the underdogs. They may be from Brazil, but that doesn't mean they're unbeatable. APAC stand tall here in their first map of the BO3.
At least one more map remains. Maybe 2. We'll find out after this.
Ooh. Pretty much done. Let's just no. All right. Gonna walk my dog, and then we'll get to A.
All right, well, map number one was a grinder between these two teams. 7-5 victory for Enterprise, taking Los's map. And that sets us up for Enterprise now to possibly seal the deal with a win 2-0 on their own map of Bank. Now, you could talk a little bit about Bank or Chalet, but before we Chalet, I want to talk about Bank. What happened now? Why does Los keep going to this map when they keep losing, Jesse?
It's a big question, Parker, and it definitely felt like we were a little bit more prepared on the Enterprise side than we were on the Los side. I mean, you even heard it in the halftime timeout. Mag talking about all the different strats that they had on Bank, the new things they were bringing, and Los, frankly, were bringing a lot of the same setups that we saw after and kickoff. Now we're moving to Chalet. It's again a map where the VOD advantage is going to favor Enterprise. We've seen it quite often from Los. They played 3 times throughout the kickoff. They beat INTZ, that was great, and then lost back-to-back matches versus FaZe. Now, FaZe Clan is the world champions, okay? They're a very good team, so I don't want to overhype those losses, but it's still one that we've seen a lot more footage on from Los and Enterprise. Enterprise, undefeated, have yet to drop a single round on Chalet, 7-0 the Barbie Boys. Back to Chalet kickoff.
Barbie Boys, FaZe Clan. Corporate is asking to see the difference between these two, and I don't know if there's no
more or less the same.
There's no difference here. I would love to be with the Barbie Boys. With a map like Chalet, though, on deck. Chalet is obviously going to play very differently from a map like Bank. Chalet is simply going to be smaller than Bank is, but one thing that is going to remain the same between these maps is the amount of action that will happen outside of the building, right? Yeah. We saw round after round after round between these teams on Bank, where there was somebody on a window, somebody on a panel, somebody on a sky, getting a kill before actually stepping foot in the building. The same can be said for Chalet. Big window, bathroom window, library window, all over the place.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for those defenders. We expect the zombie band to come through to make that even more powerful for the attack. Los will be the team starting on the offense, so that might give them a bit of the edge. That would make sense, given that this is Enterprise's map choice, but really it's going to come down to how do you stay alive on the defense. This is one of those maps where sometimes as an aggressive defender, you can get shut down because there's so many angles that you have to worry about from outside the building. If you're trying to get a little bit more active, if you're trying to be out and about, it can be very awkward. And so you look to the more aggressive players on Enterprise, you look to guys like Jigsaw, you look to guys like Bappin, who like to play those more aggressive roles, and you start to wonder, are they going to rain
And we were wondering where we were going. Why did stuff get banned? So here's the map we got for you. Los did Chalet? Huh?
Okay. Might have a change up here. I mean, that would make some sense.
That would make sense.
Yes, that would make some sense if it was Los who chose it.
Would make sense. We were very curious as to why they was picked by Los, so they have such a, I wouldn't say such a poor record, but ultimately a poor record on it. Enterprise picking would make a lot more sense. This going down to Los's map would once again make some sense here, but either way, we know that we're going to Chalet Open. We should be out eventually into this. And then, of course, Cafe is the designer. Should it arise? It was not our only best of 3 today, so if you like Siege, you got to see 3 best of 1s. And now we are in the qualification, and tomorrow we will be in the qualification and elimination games. Throughout this entire event will not be played on best 1s, but will be best of 3s. So
yes.
The first team could potentially be Enterprise. If they go out 2-0 in this series, they will be the first team qualified to join of the 4 for phase number 2, which is that Swiss phase, which already has a whole bunch of teams that are just now starting to arrive. When I was leaving the hotel, I said some of the wildcard guys around because they're just getting here now because they don't have to play today. So
yeah,
we got some time to settle in, get some flights, maybe stay with your loved ones, and then fly in for the Swiss stage will be kicking off in just a couple of days.
Yeah, and reminder as well, nobody goes home with this best of 3. It's only the first match the Los have played in the tournament because they did get that forfeit win over Wolves to start the day. So this is their first time playing. Enterprise got an earlier game against EDG. That was early this morning. That many of the fans might have been too sleepy to watch down under. But if you're just waking up now and joining us, you'll be happy to know that Enterprise have yet to drop a map in a very comfortable position. If they do lose this series by dropping Chalet and Cafe, they will go down to play the winner of, I believe it's 4 Angry Men versus Daystar in the lower brackets. That'll be a best of 3 played tomorrow. The winner of that will be in phase 2. The loser goes home.
I mean, obviously the debut from these Chinese teams has not been the best, right?
Sure.
All of the CNL teams have looked like they're a bit behind the rest of the regions, but any ball knower will tell you that that's pretty normal for a new region that's coming into the game. I mean, it took years for Brazil to be at a point where they were regularly contending for these top 4, top 2 positions. The exception of the odd bright spot here or there, Brazil needed about half a decade to warm up. APAC has never reached the heights that Brazil has reached out. There's multi-world champions coming from that region, Jesse, but APAC is still making some steady improvements. Daystar, an APAC team that we'll be playing later, they're one to keep your eye on, but let's keep our eyes on Chalet. Map number 2 underway. Enterprise versus Los. Enterprise enters up 1-0.
We'll get right into the operator bans, and for Los, you've got to keep your eye on these aggressive players for Enterprise. While it was a back and forth matchup for the majority of Bank, when we got to those last 3 rounds, Parker, it really was the Aussies running away with it, and they did it with an aggressive playstyle. They did it by maneuvering quite a bit openly on the map. I'm thrilled to see an Azami ban here. That is kind of the one operator that will enable those more aggressive playstyles on the defense. I wasn't 100% sure if we'd see it because it can go either way, but I'm so happy to see that taken out. It's going to make things a lot easier for Los. Often paired with a Mira, we see Denari, we see Clash bans sometimes on this map. There's a lot of different ops that you can pair with the Azami to take off the board. It could be the Clash this time around being removed by Los, and then the double shield down from Enterprise. It was really something that Nuxco was doing quite well with back during Bank. He had some successful rounds, some unsuccessful rounds, but there's no doubt that Los is one of the heaviest shield teams that we have here in the meta. So seeing that get banned out twice, not a surprise.
No, and I mean, you speculated that we'd see the zombie ban before we even queued into the map.
I guess I did.
You are smart. And that is the only nice thing I will say about you all day.
It is probably the single highest operator map ban that we see across any map in Pro Teams. I don't think there's a single pair of operator plus map that gets banned more often than a zombie on Shala. It's a menace, Mark. It's rare to see a game with that.
A very strong operator, and unfortunately off of the board. So now we go to Chalet. Enterprise in the first position of any team so far today to potentially qualify. So could have an Aussie team in Swiss phase coming up. There are 3 phases to this event. The first one is the play-ins. We're in that right now. You see the teams competing from the practice rooms, and some of them will be going home tomorrow. Flew all the way here. Maybe your flights were far, maybe they were a lot closer. We do know that there are two teams competing in our final best of 3 of today. One of those teams will be just the second to qualify for the 6 days. That's going to be either Team Falcons or Shopify Rebellion. Remains to be seen which one of them will ultimately do better, but both of them having some challenges today, neither of them making their matches look particularly easy. It was 7-4 for the Falcons and 7-5 for Shopify Rebellion to get to this point. So, how do they fare? What do you have?
But we're just already running up the building. I mean, this is the style of game that Enterprise want to play, isn't it, Parker? Very aggressive, and the C-Force coming through too. The Grin has got good information onto Cairo, and there are 4 players, all 5, the whole team, in his spots, will eventually get the kill.
Down goes Cairo to Mexico's utility. Tuhan on the yellow will now push up. He's going to lose some of the protection around him, turning and looking over towards Big Window. As those Grim Bees will fly on by. Perez now holding this position. A beautiful shot to take down Tuhan. Oh my goodness. That will go to smoke, 7 minutes to that cover. Perez will walk on in. Dash taking a little bit of damage, but so far it has been a perfect entry for Lowe's until Jigsaw blows up Dash from the Nitro side. Now Window swinging through that trophy window. He's got more work to be done as he and Jigsaw are the only 2 remaining for the Aussies. Mexico was attempting to get that defuse kit down, falls off. Jigsaw's gone, Brendo will follow, Perez the final kill. And that's all she wrote in the first round. The Brazilians sharpening their spears, and it's an incredible first round of Chalet for them.
Yeah, Perez comes right into second map here, and he looks pissed off from what happened back in map number 1. Jigsaw even just typed in the server, oh, he's mad. Yeah, I think Perez is kind of mad with how that first map ended, because he knows how good this team can be. They don't expect to be losing to Enterprise, and hit some really nice shots in what was a relatively basic push. I mean, Lowe's had players on the trophy window, they had players on the Astro window, and that's it. They literally had 2 positions as they went for that push. They had really not very much map control at all, but they didn't need it. They had got on the window too. Okay, 3 positions. But even still, they really just used a couple of spots there to force these picks onto these players, hit some brilliant shots with Perez being able to be the real ringleader in that round. And it makes sense given his experience. You know, Perez was on that loud core, he was on Cross Company Academy, E1, whatever they were called at the time, but he's been to a number of international events alongside that core, and was even on that old Black Dragons roster that went to Young shipping way back in the day. So if you talk about players with experience on Lowe's, of course Dash comes first, but Perez is absolutely experienced players in this tournament as well, and he's going to be expecting a lot more from his team than what we saw back in that one.
Kind of been a rough first map for him, right? He's now 12-11 with that series a bank in the books. He did have some good moments in the final portion of that map. You'll recall that 9-11, that was his scoreline for map number 1, and with 3 kills already, he's gone positive. So if Perez can have a monster game here, look a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident, then stocks for this Lowe's team will continue to go up. Dapo walks in, goodbye to Cairo. Nothing to tell us that this second attack won't be just as formidable as attack number 1 was, Jesse.
Yeah, Enterprise was really not the start they were looking for. I almost wouldn't be surprised to see a attack time call from Mag after this if they do lose it, but we'll hold off for a moment. It's just so early that Dapo got that space. An attacker in piano like that is very rare to see so quickly, and then it's a brilliant shot with the DMR. Didn't have much of a target, but finds the head one way or the other, and it puts them into a really strong position where they have a lot of responsive control so quickly, and they can start putting pressure towards Mesley. They can start putting pressure towards Blue Stairs. They can put pressure towards Library. All of these positions that Enterprise is actually playing, they're dealing with players a lot earlier than I think they would have liked to, and not even halfway through this round, those are not far away from their execution.
Let's say about the play outside.
Oh.
Perez is holding
Whew.
waiting for somebody to cross.
Gotta walk this guy.
Library over towards that very top of blue on the second floor. The fire will go out. Dart now eliminating.
Alright, let's see.
Too much. They'll lose Dart at the hands of Tuhan. The only casualty, and it's the Delos. That's a big one though for Enterprise.
Yeah, certainly losing Dark, but I mean, they still have all the tools they need, Parker. Over a minute, and they've got library control attacking this. The flank does nothing from Bappin. Dapo's ready for it. They're expecting that play to come through. Tuhan and Brendo, frankly, have an impossible position. They've got a nice mirror window looking at big window, but who cares? That game window is not going to be where this push comes from. They're going to be vaulting over Meds. They're going to be walking down blue, and they're going to have all the time in the world to get this done.
players with their backs against the wall many times over, and this round is no different. Los looking for a very quick 2-0 lead, only suffering a handful of casualties along the way. They'll lose Perez. Suddenly, the guns for Enterprise come alive. Brendo will need to clutch up in a 1v2 with Daffo still alive. 4 kills for Daffo as they push Brendo off of the spot, harassing him with those bees. Now that they're fully gone, it's the Blackbeard charging in pursuit. You cannot turn the corner on him or else he will punish you. Nuxter gets the job done. Los up 2-0.
Nice try from Brendo there, but just a really tough spot to be in with all that time left on the clock. The pace from Los has been explosive to start this matchup, and you gotta wonder for an Enterprise fan, what do they do to stop him? How do they stop this from spiraling out of control? Because they've been very dominant wins through rounds 1 and 2. 2-0, you know, it's not a huge deficit in the scoreline, but like this is the point where sometimes you'll see a sack timeout called to prevent things from spiraling out of control and getting to a scoreline that you're worried about. It doesn't happen. Mag is going to hold on to his sack timeout, deciding not to use it here after just 2 rounds, but there needs to be an answer one way or another. How quickly Los have been pushing through the building, how fast they've been taking space and clearing rovers. They're just left with too easy of a task to tackle when it comes to these executes. So I want to see Enterprise change things up. I want to see them find a way to slow down these pushes. We're going to see it coming through from me now, and I'm looking at a Castle, I'm looking at a Aid. This might be exactly what the doctor ordered to make that slow happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to slow them down, bring the operators that do that so effectively. I mean, Castle is a tough one to get through. It will necessitate a response by Los to bring a bunch of explosives and soft destruction. The alternative is that you just bypass that entirely and go for maybe a more linear or direct site hit. But a big part of why you bring that Castle testing is because you want to force people into disadvantageous positions. Yes, you can slow them down, but
Hi, baby.
Hi.
I am on my way to the dentist now.
Dentist?
Yeah, I'm going to the dentist.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was at least a 3PO panel listed.
Alright guys, 0-0 again. We're serving up. It's listen up. Defense, okay? They're going small, medium, tight, okay? Protect the score, protect score. What's important to get out of this area to us, defense first, forward more defensive. Medium to tight, tough it out, aggressive speed. Okay? We're moving hard. Hard, and they like to expend a lot of time, and they like to run big runs, not relay splits. Okay? There's no sorry for those tactics. So, I'll start shooting straight away. We see
In Tokyo,
strong
and I'm
movement.
acting in the middle of the night to tell you something very important. Now, you may know that most of your favorite anime style.
Oh my god, you jagged me. Complex it up, turn it into games, and that's just one example. Okay?
What the bro? Like it's the my guy chopping my so first they want 40 cheese and give me 80 cheese. Oh my god. They gave me 80 cheese.
Alright. Listen to me clear. I'm gonna rewind 1 second. If you don't hear this, effectively get off Rainbow Six Siege. Everybody listen, you're gonna hear his left ankle, yes, left ankle, make a noise rustling on your right. Listen, listen, listen. Left ankle on your right. Right there. If you didn't hear that, you are no longer allowed on Rainbow Six Siege, and you should play a slower paced game like Call of Duty. Let's see. He's gonna be on the right of this game. Right, right, right. Close right, I guarantee it. Close right. Close right, I guarantee it. Beautiful. So, again, this game isn't for everybody. If you didn't hear it, play Call of Duty, something that is more simple. Next.
Anybody that's wearing red, I'm trying to fuck.
He managed to catch two. He put out an open invitation for all shorties wearing red, and once one of them went, the rest of them followed suit. She wasn't even wearing red, but clearly it doesn't matter what faith he must have in his ability to follow up his shot. He got laughed at.
And so they're in phase.
The referee was left in awe, just like the rest of us.
God damn it. This is some funny shit. Let's make a remix with that shit, bruh. Let's see. Let's fuck around and do at least like a little track or something, you know? Oh, but I gotta redo it because my screen capture's not working.